Hello, and welcome to Across the Omniverse, an all-new podcast from Cinema Sangha. Although it's actually the same old podcast, we're just rebranding. My name is Devin Ferracci. I'm one of the hosts of the program. Joining me, as he traditionally does,
I am Garius, protector of the Omniverse.
Garius, thank you for joining us here on our first episode of the newly rebranded program. What's sort of a day in the life of Garius like?
I watch a lot of TV. It is how I see the Omniverse. It's through the television. And I see the lives of the people as they live, as they die, as they exist. I am Garius, protector of the Omniverse.
You watching a lot of Triumph the Insult Comic Dog on the TV? Because you certainly picked up some of his sound, it seems to me.
He's my brother. He is bully of the Omniverse.
Oh, wow. So what kind of hot things happen in the Omniverse after dark?
I don't pay for those channels.
We doing the whole show in this mask?
No, it's very hot.
All right, introduce what you really are.
Hello. My name is Derek. I am the other host of this show. How are you?
I'm okay. Wow, looking good, man. Looking good. You got a monkey face on your head. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Close up. Can see all 48 years right there.
So, yeah, we have rebranded your beloved Marvelvision into Across the Omniverse. Why? Why did we do this? And what will be changing? Well, I can tell you the number one thing is that very little will be changing. In fact, the premise of this rebrand is to give us a little more space to be a little more wide-ranging. The Marvelvision title felt very constricting, and the show's mission statement felt a little constricting as well. And so we have opted instead to become Across the Omniverse. The Omniverse, of course, is the ultra metaverse that contains all multiverses. So everything that has ever existed, could exist, or will exist is within the purview of this program. I don't actually have an opening yet for this one. I did a lot of other stuff to prep for this, but I didn't prep an opening.
Yeah.
Did you got any opening ideas?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Yeah.
Or at the top of my monkey head.
But anyway, so we just also, frankly, Marvelvision's a terrible title. It was a really good title in 2020 when we started this show.
Yes.
It
when
felt
we thought
like
there was going to be Marvel shows like every week.
Yeah, that felt like a really good title back then. And also, there's another Marvelvision on Apple Podcasts or on Podcast World, and it just seems stupid to have the same name as somebody else. And so I looked and I double checked, and there was no other podcast called Across the Omniverse. So
there you go.
I haven't changed all the stuff on the back end just yet, so there may in fact be a little bit of lag before the proper new title of this podcast begins showing. So,
and we went through a lot of titles trying to come up with this one.
Yeah,
they're mostly bad.
Derek had a really interesting concept, which is that he wanted a title that would alienate the most potential viewers possible.
Yeah.
The first one he sent me was Bland of Brothers. And then one of them was What Are You Watching, Dummy? Right? That was what it's called?
What You Watching, Dummy?
What You Watching, Dummy? And I just was like, I don't think that these sorts of titles, I feel like 10 years ago or like in the early days of podcasting, you could do that. But I don't know that kind of stuff flies as well anymore. Yeah. I think people don't want to see a thing called Bland of Brothers and then bother hitting play on that.
I still think it's a great title.
I'm not saying it's not funny. It's just, however, I just don't know if it's that enticing.
See, there was We Can Be Zeros.
Yeah, another one, another self-deprecating one.
Don't watch this.
That's your most on the nose version.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Boob Tube Boobs.
Yeah, Boob Tube Boobs. Yeah. That sounds like a good show for a video podcast where two women are topless talking about television.
Yes.
That's a much better podcast than for us. Yeah. Derek did a ton of work on our new intro and our new background and our new logo. So kudos to Derek, who has always been the artist in the family, I would say, as he chugs back his Coke.
I suppose. I don't know.
You always
like
drawing
doodling.
and shit.
Yeah,
You're
I
always
like
drawing. Yeah, so that's more artistic than me.
I guess.
I mean, I doodle, but like you, like we're drawing comic books and stuff.
I was trying. Turns out you need to know like perspective and how to draw cars and animals, and I can't do any of that.
The whole world of webcomics indicates otherwise.
That's true. That's true.
So I think
if I known that one guy would make an entire career out of drawing stick figures, although he's
like
extremely intelligent.
it's a good career he's made for
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's very smart. His comic strips are much smarter than anything I could do.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting him down, to be very clear. But if I knew that was a possibility, maybe I would have studied harder.
So yeah, welcome to the Omniverse here. Let us know what you think of this new title. Our father didn't like it. I told him we were changing the title, and he said, "To what?" And I said, "Across the Omniverse," and he goes, "Oh." So this is an opportunity for new merch, though.
It is.
Revitalize the merch store.
Yeah. Gonna have to
So
pay.
also now get your. Actually, no, those old shirts will stay in the store. The Cinema Sangha shirts, those will stay, right?
Yeah, it costs us nothing to have them in there. You know.
Well, yeah, but like they're not specific to the pods, so.
No, there's. I don't think there's any that just say Marvelvision.
I don't think
that
there
can
is
think
any.
of.
Yeah. So, all right. So, welcome to the new era. We're gonna start this week. Is gonna start a 9-week rewatch of HBO's Watchmen, the 2019 miniseries. I'm calling it a miniseries because Lindelof never intended to continue it.
Yeah, I know HBO kept saying like, "Hey, we're gonna do more," but Lindelof, as far as I know, was always like, "No, I don't think so."
Well, he said that the final shots of the series. And by the way, we're also not going to do spoilers if we can help it, right? Is that fair?
Okay, I didn't know that.
There's one spoiler I think that we can do up front, which is the identity of the Lord of the Manor.
Yeah.
Because even when they were doing their first Comic-Con panel about it, before the show came out and they showed people the first episode, they kept referring to that character as exactly who you think he probably is.
There you go.
So they knew it wasn't particularly hard to decipher who that guy was.
Yeah.
And if you're not super familiar with Watchmen in general, us telling you who that guy is not going to...
It's meaningless.
Yeah. But so he said that the final bits of the last episode in which a character walks on water, that he thought it was pretty clear what was happening, but that he was interested in seeing what whoever came next was going to do with that concept. But that was, 6 years ago already. So yeah. I'm going to guess that there's not going to be a Watchmen season 2. And I'm glad.
The closest is the, I can't remember who the artist is. I want to say it's Jorge Flores, but Tom King, we'll say Jorge Flores, and hopefully I'm not wrong, Rorschach miniseries in comic book form, which is very good. I highly recommend it. It's a really good story.
But that's a different character. That isn't the original Rorschach in that.
No, it takes place years after Watchmen, the comic, and does not go against anything that happens in this show. So they push it as like it could be considered a sequel to the show.
Well, who's the president?
Robert Redford.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big part of it is the election.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing for the next 9 weeks. And then we have Wonder Man. So we're still continuing your Marvelvision content. But then we have some exciting different ideas to do episodes in the future. So, I think the opportunity to shake things up a little bit is a little bit of fun, I think.
Yeah, it opens up some barriers.
Yeah.
Lets us do some new stuff.
Yeah.
Play around.
But I think the structure of the program is going to remain essentially the same, which means I'm going to ask you right now, do we have any news this week?
We do.
What do we got?
Asked about Batman the Brave and the Bold, Andy Muschietti said, we have to wait a couple of months to start talking about it. So maybe we'll be hearing something about Batman Brave and the Bold in the not-too-distant future.
What if they just keep telling Andy Muschietti that, and they don't intend to actually have him on it, but they haven't had the courage to fire him yet, like officially?
It's possible.
Like nobody wants him to make
how
that.
Welcome to Derry does, and if that doesn't do well, they can be like, "Well, sorry, guy."
He's got a multi-season storyline for that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, he's hopeful that it's going to do well. It's airing right now as we are recording this podcast, so neither one of us has seen it. No. I'm excited. You excited? Are you going to watch it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the movies, and the last trailer they put out I thought was really good. And I was like, oh, this looks fun. This looks like it'll be a good time. So
it got really good reviews.
They got good reviews. Yeah, yeah. It has a lot to do with an army base, which you told me did not exist, and it does. So,
I mean,
there you go.
But they may have just added that. I don't remember.
No, it's in the book.
Is it in the book?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm just wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm often unconfidently correct, where you're often confidently wrong.
First off, I'm never confident about anything. Let's be very clear. There's nothing in my life to suggest confidence should be part of my personality.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? I mean, like, I kind of hope he doesn't make it, but let's find out, I guess, right?
I mean, he's not writing it, right? It's a secret who's writing the movie, which is very interesting, I think, because that can cause a lot of speculation, and nobody knows who it is, so we'll have to find out at some point. I imagine we'll find out who's writing it. But
I would imagine at some point we'll find out who's writing this movie.
What if it came out and there's just no writer credited?
I watched a movie last night that had the very unusual credit of producer as Alan Smithee.
Really?
Yeah, so Alan Smithee is the name that they used to use for directors that wanted to take their names off of a movie because they weren't satisfied with how it turned out because of interference or whatever. And in this case, it was the producer who had the Alan Smithee credit, which I think is very interesting. I just never seen that before.
No.
The movie was Student Bodies.
Okay, that's late 70s, early 80s, right?
1981.
81. Okay.
1981, and it is basically they're trying to make an airplane for slasher movies.
Okay.
And
very early into slasher movies.
Arguably too early into slasher movies because they really run out of material pretty quickly. I found it to be funny in the beginning and then really wear out its welcome about halfway through. So, so it goes.
I watched Until Dawn.
The horror game adaptation.
Yes.
I heard it was interesting.
It's too long. It definitely at a certain point you're like, all right, we can speed up now. But the concept is really fun. Like, it's a movie that it's never winking at you, being like, oh, this is goofy, isn't it? But it knows all right, this is pretty goofy. And the whole setup, where like every time they die, the day starts over and they have to face different monsters each time, makes it kind of fun. So you're seeing different stuff a couple of times. So that's pretty cool. But, it's not great, but it's fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I'll check it out at some point.
It's very gory, which
Nice.
I was surprised by.
Nice.
So that's nice. Because
Nice.
you don't get much gore these days.
No, you get a lot of gore these days, actually. I was just talking to somebody about how the R rating, because of The Walking Dead, just destroyed. I was talking to you about this, yeah. So the Alan Smithee, I found out who the person was, who was the Alan Smithee. And it's Michael Ritchie.
don't know who that is.
You definitely know who that is because he directed The Bad News Bears. He directed Fletch.
Okay.
He directed Digstown. He directed Cool Runnings.
Okay.
And so what happened is the director of that movie, Student Bodies, he had never directed a movie before. And so they decided to put a producer on the movie that had a lot of filmmaking experience to like hold his hand. But I guess it was a bad experience for everybody. And so he pulled his name off the guy who directed it and wrote it. He was a high school buddy of Woody Allen. And they were best friends. Woody Allen was the best man at his wedding, and he wrote on Bananas and Take the Money and Run.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was very hopeful in terms. I mean, I had seen this movie a million years ago, like when I was in my heavy slasher phase, and like I was renting any VHS that was slasher oriented, just tearing through all of them. But I remember nothing about it, and yeah, there's a really incredible. It's like a very racist bit, but it's not played as racist. But there's no way it's not racist.
Okay.
The killer in the movie keeps using weird objects to kill people. So he kills somebody with like a paperclip. He kills somebody else with an eraser. He always kills couples, and all the boys he kills, he just puts a plastic bag around them and they die. It's not gory. There's no good kills in this at all. But there's a black couple, and he kills them with an eggplant.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And eggplant, for those that don't know, is an Italian word for eggplant, has been used as a slur for black people, especially by Italians. And so it just felt, but like nobody made a joke about it, like within the context of the movie. It almost feels like the joke is that it's an absurd item. Because like when the woman is dead, the boyfriend comes back and finds her dead, and he goes, "You said you didn't even like eggplant." And so like there's like a version of this where like, "You said you didn't even like beets," you know? But like the use of the eggplant in and of itself, especially in 1981, I'm like, oh, that's and these guys from New York. I'm like, that definitely is a bad, shitty racial joke.
Yeah. Unless somebody making the movie is from the future, and they're like, trust me, in like 40 years, 50 years, this is going to have very different connotations for the kids. So.
Oh, because the eggplant emoji?
Yes.
Oh, that could be it. That could be a time traveler. It could be an ultra-terrestrial traveling through the time stream. Anyway, I can't really recommend it for modern viewers. It's on Paramount Plus if you really want to watch it. But Michael Ritchie also directed Prime Cut. Have you ever seen Prime Cut?
I don't think so.
It's insanely good. It's one of the most insanely good movies ever made. And it is... It stars Lee Marvin and Gene Hackman. It's what's her name's one of her first Sissy Spacek, one of her very first roles. Okay. She's mostly naked the entire picture. And Lee Marvin is a mob enforcer from Chicago, the Irish mob, and he goes to get a debt from the meat packer guy in Kansas who owes money to the Irish mob. And his name, by the way, this is such a great movie, man. Gene Hackman's name is Marianne. And so he goes to collect this debt and discovers that Marianne is using his meat packing operation for sex trafficking. He's auctioning off drugged up girls. And so they end up getting into a conflict about it, and Lee Marvin ends up like rescuing Sissy Spacek. And it's fucking awesome. And it's like awesome because it's a mob guy in fucking Kansas, and they're like chasing him with a tractor and shit like that. Like and it's Lee Marvin, by the way, so it just fucking rules. So if you haven't seen it, it really rules. It's tough. It's a little tough. It's a 1970s, early 70s like sleaze movie, like in a lot of ways, a sleazy crime movie. But it's so good. I can't recommend it enough. Prime Cut.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. So, anyway, sorry. You know me, I get excited about the picture sometimes.
You do.
All right, what's our next bit of news?
Jeremy Renner has said that he is not currently slated to return as Hawkeye in Doomsday or Secret Wars.
Oh, tragic.
That is very tragic. That makes me very sad.
Was it really? Yeah, you like Jeremy Renner.
I love Hawkeye. Yeah.
I just need Kate Bishop. I don't need him.
I like him.
I would like them to just be like, oh yeah, he died.
No.
He killed himself. Actually, he jumped in front of the snowplow.
No,
That's
that's
what
not funny. That's not funny. That's rude.
It is funny. Did you see that Jeremy Renner said that why he shut down the Renner app?
No.
It's incredible. So he said that he was spending too much time on it, but also that people began to mistake it as an erotic web app because it had so many sexy pictures of him on it.
Okay.
And so he said, we have to get rid of this. We can't do this anymore because the kids.
There you go.
So like the idea that Jeremy Renner is like personally moderating the Renner app. Every person I've ever heard of who was on the Renner app was on the Renner app, ironically, making fun of Jeremy Renner. Yeah. So I love, it's crazy. So the odds that Jeremy Renner has read these people's comments is all high.
Yeah. There you go.
I know you hate your boy Renner getting mocked.
I really like Hawkeye. I've liked Renner in other stuff. Like, he's good in The Town. He's good in other stuff. I have not watched Mayor of Kingstown, so I don't know how good that is. But I like Hawkeye. I like that character. I like that he's like the one like blue collar dude on the Avengers, right? And he just hangs out and gives inspirational speeches every now and again. I like it.
He is real bad in his Bourne movie.
Yeah, I have not watched that. I've never watched
It's not good. And they wrote him out of the Mission Impossible movies, which they don't write anybody out of those movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, because he didn't show up in the last one. Everybody showed up in the last one. That was
he was supposed to be in the last one, and he turned it down. No, he turned
it down. Why would he do that?
Because he was supposed to. They were going to kill him in it, and he was like, I don't want to do that. So he didn't show up.
Incredible eye roll for me there. I cannot believe that.
I think it's Holt McNary instead, isn't that spot? Or no, it's what's his name from Parks and Rec.
Nick Offerman?
Nick Offerman. That's why Nick Offerman's suddenly in the movie. Yeah, because that was supposed to be Jeremy Renner's character.
He kills himself.
Yes.
Oh, I would like to have seen Jeremy Renner blow his brains out. Honestly, I would like to see
I think
that.
that's probably why. He was like, I don't want to now just be a bad guy all of a sudden. Like, I don't like that.
Fucking, he's just gone. Congrats, Renner. You're gone. You're done. Nobody cares about you anymore.
Yeah. Nobody cared about that movie. So it all works out.
It is true.
Yeah.
It is true. All right. What else we got?
On the other side of the coin, Gwyneth Paltrow says she might be in another Marvel movie. So maybe she's in Doomsday or Secret Wars.
She has no idea, though, because she didn't know she was in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But people make a lot of jokes about that. But I think the truth is they shot that while they were shooting an Avenger movie, and I suspect that she didn't realize that part was for a different movie.
I would think they shot that roughly around when they were shooting Civil War, which she's not in. But maybe she thought she was making Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it, because they talk about Avengers in that scene with her. So
also, like she clearly did a day in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are always like, "Oh, she not know?" It's like because these are paychecks to her. It's not really a big deal, especially a day. Yeah. And she's got like 2 lines. She's like, "Hurry up, the press is here." Oh no, Tony, don't do this. And then that's it, right? Like, there's not much there for her to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's true.
Yeah. And then finally, on the third side of the coin, Mark Ruffalo has started filming for Brand New Day, for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of him on set.
Yeah.
He's got the dots on his face.
Yep. He's going to be a little hulky.
I'm very curious what that's going to be. I'm excited about Brand New Day.
I'm really interested to see what it is. Because there's so many characters in it. But we have no clue what the story is.
No.
So I'm very hopeful.
I mean, more and more, I'm pretty convinced that it's going to deal with the fallout of Kingpin being the mayor.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it. I really am. Like, that's going to be a piece of it. So I am very kind of curious. The Punisher special takes place in 2027. So I'm curious when this takes place is the other thing.
Well, this comes out before 2027.
The movies are all set in the future now.
That's so stupid. There's no reason to still be in the future. You had to take like a year and a half off for COVID. You can just be like, okay, it's now.
I don't know what to tell you, man, but there are posters on the Punisher set that say this concert is coming June 2027 or something like that. So they have photos of those because it was public space. So the Marvel movies continue to take place in the future.
Weird. But whatever. They can do what they want. And that's it. That's all the news.
That's all we got, huh?
That's all the news.
I will not be able to add news to this because I was not looking for news this week, so I don't know anything else that might have happened. I'm just not plugged in. Because I'm getting ready. Oh, you know what? I do have one thing.
Stretch it out.
Clark Gregg had a thing to say about people who keep claiming that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon. And
oh, wait, hold on. Let me get my don't give a shit hat. I can't find it. All right, go on.
He basically is like, who gives a shit? Like that he had that exact basic response that you had. Like, who gives a shit? But what he said, though, specifically is great. There are some people who talk about canon. You can go fuck yourself. We're proud of what we did. We're proud, really deeply proud of the connection we have with people like you who come visit and hang with us.
Good for him.
So if you care about canon, go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Oh, man, I love
Agent
that.
Coulson laying it down.
He is. You know, he's still in character from War of the Worlds.
There you go.
He's still carrying that character with him.
Every now and again on Reddit, you know how it'll like just show you stuff from other subreddits?
Yeah.
And you're not in? It'll show me something from like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. subreddit.
Uh-huh.
And as far as I can tell, all the posts in there must just be, it matters, damn it. This is important. And it's like, is it? Like, none of this stuff is really that important, guys.
Yeah.
These are movies. These are no stories. It's okay. You enjoyed it. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But I don't think Quake's going to be showing up.
I wonder if Jeremy Renner isn't in the Avengers movies because they were going to kill him.
No, because he keeps talking about how they're still talking about doing Hawkeye season 2.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay. Yeah.
He was also asked, by the way, how he would feel if they just replace him with a different actor that costs less, and he said that's for them to do. Like it's their character, it's their stuff. They can do it if they want. So he seems to be understanding of that concept.
I mean, they don't need to do that because they already have a new Hawkeye ready to go.
Yes, who they're just not using anyway. So
yeah. So
it all works out.
All right. We got letters this week.
We do.
What do we got?
Jeff asks, does Sandman season 2 exist? No, it doesn't.
It's one of these. I love a good philosophical question. I mean, honestly, I got to say, I love when the listeners come to us with philosophy. If a Sandman TV show premieres and no one ever speaks of it, does it exist? And technically, it came out. The thing that's so funny about it is the showrunner saying this is where they always intended to end it, and I think they get right to Season of Mists. And like Season of Mists is like where Sandman starts, frankly. Yeah. Like that's like everything else is prologue.
Yeah.
Including to the fact that the first collection is called Nocturnes and Preludes. But when Season of the Mist comes, that is the story that really fucking just opens everything up. And so it's crazy that like, we always intended to never do the most interesting stuff in Sandman. I mean, that is a real Netflix attitude though. So, you know.
There you go.
But it's very funny, like on like the Sandman subreddit or like Sandman fandom, the way people are tying themselves in knots to kind of like make sure that everybody knows they think that Neil Gaiman's bad, but also that they are definitely watching season 2 of Sandman no matter what. Like, and I think you just don't even have to, just don't even tie yourself. Just say I'm watching it. Like, you know what? Everything else is secondary. Like, I love this stuff. This stuff means something to me. I know we've talked about this in the podcast before, but one of my best friends at his wedding, his first dance song was a Michael Jackson song, because Michael Jackson is really important to him. And, you know, I mean, could somebody at the wedding have like gotten up and go, "How dare you play Michael Jackson?" But like, fuck it, it means something to him. Let the people who it means something to have it. Like, it's not, I don't know. Ugh. Anyway, but also the thing is that the first season of Sandman was a piece of shit. So we're very much not interested in ever watching season 2, which I guess did come out technically. So who will know? I mean, imagine they made it much better this season. That's the dramatic irony here, is that it's actually a really good season of television.
They fixed
after
it.
the terrible first season.
That'd be something.
Anyway,
at least they got the ending that they wanted by doing absolutely nothing of the book.
I mean, they did. They adapted those particular stories. They really adapted the actual stories from the comic. But yeah, it was. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, all right. What we got next?
Charles asks, I recently just found out that the dolphin scream that Rhino did in the infamous scene in Craven was something added in post, and that it was always meant to be a silent scream, according to the actor. When something like this happens in the creative process, wherein the intent of the actor on set is ultimately fucked up by the director in post, what is the etiquette here? Do you think J.C. Chandor apologized for absolutely making Alessandro Nivola a complete meme and laughingstock with the dolphin edit? Is all fair in the creative process of filmmaking?
Man... So I got a very complicated series of answers to this, and the thing is, I don't know. I mean, I thought that he had done the scream in one take, and they ended up using that, despite the fact that he was told they were going to use the silent scream. But whatever. I mean, the thing is that as an actor, here's the deal. You do what you do on the set, and then what happens after that. That's why a lot of actors will have negative feelings about movies that we may love, or we may think their performance is amazing, but they knew what they were doing on the day, and what they're doing on the day is not what's in the movie. So I think the etiquette is that the director gets to choose. The director gets to do what the director needs to do. If the director thinks that adding in that scream is going to work better, you know, obviously J.C. Chandor was wrong, but if they do believe that, then that's what they should do. Like, it should, the actor is there to bring to life the director's vision.
I'm going to argue that he was not wrong to put in that scream, because that's my favorite part in the movie.
It's the only part of the movie anybody talks about. So, I mean, like, on some level, like, you know what, congrats, you have a thing that actually broke through.
Yeah.
In a movie that most definitely did not break through.
No.
So yeah, I mean, I just don't think that. I think that that's the deal with making a movie. It's you're working for the director, and the director's going to take these materials to the point where, like, when he was making the prequels, George Lucas was taking somebody's body from one take and putting the head from another take on it. Like, he was like Frankensteining his actors. So but I think that that's okay. I don't know if I think it's a good idea, but I think it's okay. And yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, is that, like, the other things that what an actor does, if they do 20 takes on a scene, you might have your favorite take that may not be the one they use.
Sure.
I mean, we've all seen this in movies and TV shows about making of, which is like where the actor has like an idea of how they want to do the scene, and then the director's like, well, I love your version. Let's just do one as it's written.
One for safety.
One for safety, and that's the one they use, because the director never actually wanted the stupid take that the actor had. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that actors are potentially not human beings. So with that in mind, I think there's nothing ethically wrong with doing that.
Take that, actors.
I was talking to another friend of mine today
Give it
about
to
that.
actors. Drop dead.
We'll talk about that today, which is that when you live in LA and you get to know a lot of actors over time, you get to really understand the deep psychological issues that drive actors. Like every one of them has this. Like, it's very rare to meet somebody who's an actor who, for the movies, who does not have this yawning central hole that they're working on filling. Yeah. And it's very rare to know an actor who walks into a room and does not go for the attention, and it's also very rare to know an actor that does not have a certain amount of intense ego. But like, it's very funny because the more actors you know, the more you go, yeah, I guess. And also part of what's like weird about them is that they have a different relationship to their emotions than we do.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. They really do have a different relationship to their emotions. Like, there's just no way that you or I could. I mean, as I've said, from my deep experience as an actor, I couldn't put a Coke can down correctly. And these people are able to change emotions on a dime. So this is not me saying bad things about actors. I suspect many actors listening to this will go, yeah, I think he's kind of right. We're not actual human beings. We're evolved.
We're all both humans. I found in my time in LA that 90% of the actors I knew really just were kids from rich families that could just sit around all day.
That's a big piece of it too. But I'm not gonna say working actors is what I'm gonna say for that. So, the wannabe actor who comes to LA and bartends forever.
Oh, these kids didn't even bartend.
Oh yeah, because everybody in LA. But here's the thing: nobody in LA works, right? So when you live in LA long enough, you begin to realize that if you go to the coffee shop at 2:00, it's jam packed full of people, and it's because nobody has a job, or they don't have a job that requires them to do anything half the time. Yeah. Anyway, they're rich, and I always used to wonder. I lived in my first apartment building here in LA, and there were people just home all day. I could hear them all day, and I was always like, what the fuck do these people do how are they paying their rent? And they didn't seem to work because they just hung out, you know? Like I was like in my room typing on my dumb little computer all day, but they were like hanging out, like having beers on the patio and stuff like that all day. And I was like, how do these fucking people survive? And then the answer is, they have rich parents. Okay, that's the answer, yeah. It's always the answer.
Mommy and Daddy are paying the rent.
You better believe it.
Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice. Anyway, enough of that. Clay says, hey guys, love the show. Sorry, the show's canceled. We don't do it anymore. Had a general TV history question for you, but this works into the new show because it's general TV. So after my girlfriend and I ran out of Columbo to watch, we decided to dive into Murder, She Wrote, which we have both loved and have had a great time watching our way through. In Season 3 of Murder, She Wrote, there's a 2-part crossover episode with Magnum P.I. Nothing strange there, right? Well, at the end of the Murder, She Wrote episode, they solve the crime, and when we went to watch the Magnum half of the crossover, we were shocked to discover that in the previously on section, which recapped the Murder, She Wrote half, they changed the ending so that the case was still unsolved and required Magnum to solve it. In the glory days of episodic TV, where no one had streaming or home video, I can easily see them playing fast and loose with something like that, assuming that no one would notice. But I've never heard of a similar instance. Have you? Thanks, Clay.
There's a PS.
That's a question for the Omniverse, if ever there was one.
That's a question. There's a PS right there.
P.S. I agree with Derek that Harry as Venom, while something they would fundamentally never do, makes more sense for Spider-Man 3, and I, in Devin's words, fundamentally disagree with both of you on the TMNT movie. Keep up the great work. We haven't done great work yet. We're not going to start now.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. I actually have never heard of anything quite that significant. I mean, definitely there have been, like... That's something I'm very familiar with from the cliffhanger serials, where they would do one serial would end with the guy falling off the cliff, and the next serial would begin with the guy still on the cliff and then jumping out of the way and not falling. And that's just cheating, right? But I have never heard of such a thing, and I did a tiny bit of looking into it, and I could not find anything quite that. I mean, because one of the things is that there's so rarely continuity in old episodic TV that they just never... But I understand why they would do that, because the Murder, She Wrote and the Magnum P.I. audiences are probably not really that similar. I guess maybe like some of the grandmas that watched Murder, She Wrote were into Magnum because Magnum was hunky. But like, it's just a different vibe. And so it's a weird crossover, by the way. I did not know that a crossover existed. And
it's wild to me because Donald P. Belisario, who created Magnum P.I., wanted to do a Magnum P.I. Quantum Leap crossover and could never make it happen, but he created both shows. So I don't know why he could never make that work. But he was
Because
like, yeah, we can do it.
they
with
were
Murder,
on
She Wrote.
different networks.
Wasn't Murder She? I don't know actually what Murder She Wrote, Magnum PI were.
I thought it was on. They were both on CBS, I believe.
I have no idea.
I mean, so that's the big deciding factor. Who's what network they're on back then?
Yeah.
They didn't do cross network. I mean, they really don't do cross network crossovers either now.
Can I tell you my favorite TV crossover?
What's that?
There's an episode of Community where Abed explains that he was invited. He started a fan site for Cougar Town, and he was invited on set to fly out to L.A. and like see how the show is made. And they put him in a scene as an extra, and he freaked out on set because he no longer knew who he was if he was playing somebody else, and it freaked him out. And it's a funny scene in Community, but there's an episode of Cougar Town where Danny Pudi, who plays Abed, is in the background of a scene, and he's center. Like, there are two people talking, one on the left, one on the right. He's sitting behind them, but he's center, and he's looking directly into the camera, and he starts getting nervous and looking around, and then just gets up and, like, runs away. And I can only imagine people that watch Cougar Town were like, what was up with that? Like, what is that all about? Because that's another one where I imagine there's not that much crossover between Cougar Town and Community. But, yeah, I love it. I love it.
I mean, Kevin Beagle, one of the creators of Cougar Town, huge Community fan. I mean,
Yes.
is friends with the Community people. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because
that's
Kevin
obviously
used to write on South Park. So
Yes. And he also created the wonderful show Enlisted, which I highly
sure did.
recommend.
he sure
Sadly,
did.
it only lasted a season, but I love it.
There's a new military show that I want to check out.
It's Enlisted, the same show, but bad. Yeah. It's not good. If we're talking about with Dennis Leary?
No, we're talking about different shows.
Okay. I'm talking about the one with Dennis Leary.
I'm talking about the Netflix one, Boots,
No, that is not
about
what I'm talking
a gay private in the Army that the Department of Defense has said is offensive and horrible.
Yes.
Which I believe means that I have to actually watch every episode. At least leave
Patriotic duty.
it running in the background at least. Like I got to do that because I need to make this show go up the charts. But also got really good reviews. It's not a comedy. It's supposed to be very tender. But you know what? If it pisses off Pete Hegseth, then I'm fucking all aboard.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's not the show I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one with Dennis Leary
Yeah.
on Fox.
Yeah. No, I get it. Most of my favorite crossovers aren't really crossovers.
No?
There's like a couple. All my favorite crossovers come from the 70s and the 80s, and it's always. But what it is that it's usually shows that are spin-offs as opposed to really like being a straight crossover. So like Mork is in Happy Days, and then Mork and Mindy's a spin-off of Mork appearing in Happy Days, and my favorite crossover is the crossover between Next Generation and Deep Space Nine in the first episode of Deep Space Nine, where they're trying to establish how Sisko is very different from Picard, and the way they establish it is that Picard kills his wife, and Sisko will not let it go.
I just watched the first episode like a week or so ago, and it's so great when they meet, and Picard's like, it's good to meet you. And he's like, I've met you before at Wolf 359. And Picard's like,
It's so good. Yeah. It's so good because on TNG, you'd never have Picard on his heels like that. Because Sisko really is like, and Picard tries to like pull some like, are you sure you're fit for this duty? And he's like, I fucking am, bitch. And because Sisko's amazing.
At first, Sisko's like, I don't want this job. I don't want to do
right.
this. And Picard's like, all right, I'll see if I can get you a transfer. And then at the end of the episode, Sisko goes back to Picard. He's like, no, I'm going to stick around. And Picard's like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I am. I can do it without killing a bunch of Starfleet people like you do.
Untrue. He does, in fact, kind of help launch the Dominion War.
He ends up committing many war crimes. Yeah.
Not against the Federation, though.
No.
The Maquis, yes.
Yes, but his actions do lead to a lot of Starfleet deaths. And
they definitely did.
He's sitting there at some point being like, I think I might owe Picard an apology or two.
I don't know. I'm not convinced Ben Sisko would ever do that. Because, I mean, again, it's his wife that died in the fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, oh, no, you killed my wife. Like, I can never get over that. All right. Those are all letters for this week?
That's our letters.
All right. And where can people send their letters to?
They can send them to ask.cinema.sanga@gmail.com. In the subject line, put the name of the show you want, Across the Multiverse or Bad Batch, and then one question per email, please.
Sounds great. Are you ready to talk about the first episode of the HBO Watchmen?
Yes.
Let's do it. Watchmen, Episode 1. It's summer, and we're running out of ice. That, by the way, is a quote from the musical Oklahoma, which is going to play a pretty significant role in this entire season, but especially in this episode. So we open in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, and there is a movie on the screen with a piano accompaniment, and it's a Western, and it is a guy in like a black hood with a lasso capturing a guy all in white, and the townsfolk come out and demand to know why he's capturing the sheriff. And he says, because he's the ones that's been stealing your cattle. And they're like, how do we know to trust you? And the guy pulls off his hood, and it's Bass Reeves, the Texas Ranger. And Bass Reeves is a real guy.
Yes.
So a little bit of, not like a crazy amount of Bass Reeves stuff here. I'm not going to do a whole Bass Reeves podcast, but
there's a whole miniseries about Bass Reeves you can watch.
Starring David Oyelowo.
Yeah.
Forgive.
I'm not jumping on that grenade.
He was a slave.
Yes.
He was a slave, and he escaped during the Civil War and went to live in the Indian Territory. What's really interesting is that, so the other piece of this that's like big history is the Tulsa Race Massacre. Tulsa always had like kind of a complicated racial history because that part of Oklahoma territories was a settlement area for Native Americans from the South, and many of those Native Americans owned slaves. And so they brought their slaves in, and so it was like a very strange situation. They were but he came and lived in the Indian territory. He learned all the shit, like all the best Native arts of tracking and survival and stuff like that. And he became a deputy U.S. Marshal, kind of a great hero. He arrested his own son because he killed his wife. And he was sentenced to life in jail.
Wow.
A guy put his own son. He got out after a bunch of years, but he did. But he's like a really cool, amazing character in history who. This show is fiction and it's set in a fictionalized reality, but the fictionalized reality begins very early because, as far as I know, Bass Reeves was never in anything until the 21st century. I do not find any significant stuff like in terms of like movies or whatever that he was in previous to the 21st century.
Shocking.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, like it's crazy because he. He shows up a bunch in the 21st century. Yeah. He's like on TV all the time. Yeah. But I just have not. Somebody let me know if there is an older Bass Reeves movie that exists. Anyway, it's almost certain that he's the Lone Ranger.
Okay.
He is almost certainly the model for the Lone Ranger, and some of the things that especially. Like his status as a marshal, which is what the Lone Ranger was before he became the Lone Ranger, but also that Bass Reeves often had native partners working with him, and that Bass Reeves had souvenir silver dollars he would give to people.
Yeah.
And the Lone Ranger gave out silver bullets to people. They would, who is that masked man? That makes Bass Reeves' involvement in this story, I mean, like, there's so much metatextual shit in this show. It is so deep. We're only going to touch on some of it. We're not going to be able to get into everything. This would take like a 4-hour podcast per episode. But Lone Ranger is one of the proto superheroes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's definitively the beginning or the beginnings of the American superhero format. Mm-hmm. It is Lone Ranger, Zorro, and then you move into like, the Shadow and those characters. But I'm pretty sure Lone Ranger and Zorro come well before the Shadow and those guys.
Lone Ranger appeared first time 1933.
Okay, maybe not that too far ahead, but I don't know when
But
the first showed up.
I feel like, though, the Lone Ranger, what's funny is there hasn't been like a really successful Lone Ranger in a long time, but he's kind of iconic in a really fundamental way.
Yeah.
Hi-Ho Silver, I think people recognize. Tonto, people recognize.
The theme, right? It's not.
Oh yeah,
it's
William Tell
freaking
Overture.
fun.
Yeah. And the who was that masked man? The classic line. I know a good dirty joke about the Lone Ranger.
We all know that joke.
Do we?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
With the Kimosabi, that one? Or the snake bite one?
The snake bite one.
Yeah, we all know these jokes.
No, they don't. Well, we don't. I'm going to tell this joke.
No,
so it's not offensive. It's
no,
funny.
it's not offensive. It's just it's you're never good at telling jokes.
Ooh, that's harsh.
You're not. Neither am I. I'm very bad at it too.
Damn.
We both do a lot of and then and it's just.
Oh no, wait! But before that, he said this.
Yeah, yeah. We're not. Neither of us have that skill. You know. We're not good at that.
So, small spoiler here. The name of the kid watching is Will Reeves. So, and then also the Reeves being Christopher Reeve.
Or George Reeves.
Or George Reeves. I mean, all of this, like, it's all right there, right? I think that...
I mean, the kid's story is the origin of Superman. The world is blowing up. They put him into a small space. He goes off into the night.
Yeah. So the kid, that's exactly what happens. And what's happening here is the Tulsa Race Massacre has broken out. And it is one of the most fucked up moments in American history, which is really saying something, frankly. Because this is an American history full of nothing but fucked up stuff.
Yeah. This is a amazingly fucked up moment in American history that the vast majority of people did not know happened until this show.
Yeah, so my argument is that the HBO Watchmen, the Damon Lindelof Watchmen, is one of the most important pieces of genre storytelling of the last 25 years.
Sure.
And the reason why is because when this episode aired, the impact that had was unreal. I mean, now people know. If I say the Tulsa Massacre, the Tulsa Race Massacre, people have an idea what I'm talking about. But if you would said that somebody in 2017, they would have no idea what you're talking about. No. And now it's a really well-known story. And the story here is that the Tulsa Race Massacre happened in 1921. It happened specifically in this black neighborhood that was often called the Black Wall Street. It was like one of the wealthiest black communities in America. And there was 2 days of terrorist white supremacist attacks in this neighborhood, including dropping bombs out of planes. So when you see the plane here, that's true. That's not them adding anything.
It was wild.
36 people died, maybe. There are some estimates that are higher, but like some modern researchers went back and tried to really go through the records and parse out how many people died. And the assumption is about 36-ish. It's probably a low-end estimate, but I don't know. Some people say 300, but I'm not 100% convinced of that. However, 6,000 residents, black residents of Tulsa, did get rounded up and put in camps. And this 35 blocks were burned to the ground, so people lost their homes very immediately, like significantly. And this led to a huge exodus of the black folk in Tulsa. They got the fuck out of town. The message was received. So the way that the whole thing happened is really interesting because it's really exactly the kind of story that most racial violence in America has at its origin, which is that a 19-year-old black kid was accused of assaulting a white lady. And he got arrested. There was talk that he was going to be lynched. And the whole community kind of got like like on edge at this point. And then, as often is the case, an old white man got in the face of a black guy, OB man, and saw that OB man had a pistol. And the old man said, not OB man, but the old guy said, "Give me that pistol." OB man said no. The old man tried to get the pistol from him. A gunshot went off. while they were wrestling over the pistol, and then that was it. It just went fucking nuts. And what happened is that there was two groups of people shooting at each other, like it's like a gun battle that was traveling down the street. And the good news is that 12 people did die in that gun battle. The good news is that 10 of them were white, 2 of them were black. So definitely the white guys were not the good shots in that particular fight. You were a little concerned that I said there was good news.
Yeah,
here?
well, you said, the good news is 12 people died. I was like, ugh.
So the whole thing, then people started pouring in from out of town to really begin this violence. I think what's really great about how Watchmen shows this, there's a way to show this as like an action sequence, like a thrilling action sequence. That's not how they show it.
No.
It is shown as a horror sequence. And it is shown as a sequence that I feel like has a lot of resonance with film depictions of the Holocaust, of the early days of the Holocaust. And that also, I think, is probably not on accident. That is almost certainly an attempt to draw a comparison to some of the more famous incidents of horrific racial violence that happened on this planet. So the kid gets taken away. His dad's a soldier. His mom is the piano player at the movie theater, and he gets taken away. They run through the streets. They make it through the streets. All kinds of violence is happening around them. It's total fucking chaos.
There's one shot of like a kid, 5,
Dead?
6 years old. No, he's standing there holding a dead baby.
Yes.
And it's horrifically unsettling.
Devastating image. Yeah, devastating image. Incredibly horrifying. They get to a place where they know that there's a car that will get them out of town, but the people at the car are like, no, there's no more room. And the dad's like, just take the boy. Just take the boy. And he has a note on him that says, watch over this boy. And then the next thing we know, he's kind of waking up because the car something has happened to it. It's flipped over.
Yep.
Like there's bullet holes, right? So
I mean, the woman has definitely been shot in the head.
yeah. So he finds a crying baby, and he has this note, and he walks off, and then it transitions from 21 to 2019. A really great transition. A lot of great transition
Yeah.
in this particular program. And I think transitions are like one of the really strong elements of the original Watchmen comic. And they're not doing as many visual technique things that are calling back to the comic, but including the transitions in the way that they do. Like the episode titles are giant letters that hover in the air and it's cast shadows and stuff. That's not from the comic. That is not a comic book conceit. So we cut ahead to 2019. I really like this. Also, we have just followed a black kid who has experienced one of the worst incidents of racial violence in American history. And then we cut to a car getting pulled over in the modern day, and it's a white guy driving the car. And then we see that it's a black cop. And I think that there's, within that moment, I mean, obviously what happens, it is not reversed, but in that moment when you're watching, I think to go directly from that to this, I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
The cop is wearing a mask, and it is illegal to ask the cop to take his mask off.
There's something else in the scene that I really like.
What's that?
The racist white guy is listening to rap.
Yeah.
I like that. It's
Yeah.
never called attention to.
Yeah.
It's just part of the deal.
I mean, that's so common. It's so common. It's unbelievably common.
Yeah.
So the thing I want to really specify to people is that if you did not watch this show when it aired in 2019. It aired the summer before George Floyd. It is, I would say, one of the most prescient works of fiction in a long time.
Crazy that when this came out 6 years ago, it was like, cops wearing masks. That'd be crazy if that ever happened.
It's really...
Now here we are.
Really nuts, man. And, like, when... Every now and again, somebody will do a meme that has the cops from Watchmen with their masks on, and I think it doesn't really land 100%, like, as a meme. I think it's just a little more specific. The show was a hit and did well, but I'm not sure exactly what after the long shelf life of the show has been, like in terms of people revisiting it and stuff like that. I don't hear people talking about it very much.
No.
Including us, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of got memory hold with, everything that came after 2019. I mean, COVID, like just kind of shut it all out, right?
Well, COVID and I think the Black Lives Matter summer.
Black Lives Matter summer, like all of this stuff kind of made this show seem less, for lack of a better term that I can think of, less biting, because we were like, oh, we're living that right now.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need a fictional superhero show to tell us this could happen. It's happening.
But the funny thing is that watching it now in 2025, it hits like a fucking ton of bricks.
Yeah.
It hits like a fucking ton of bricks. And I think that the difference might be that in 2020, there was this sense that things were going bad. But in 2025, things have already gone bad. Like, it's broken. We're not getting out of this one easy, and we're not getting out of this one unscathed. So I do think that it hits in a really different way.
I think also part of it is, again, coming out of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement and the ACAB movement, a show about a cop, even though she's a heroic person, does not fit into the narrative of the moment.
Yeah, but she's a heroic person, but she's also not.
Yes.
You know, I think that's one of the reasons why I think this is really interesting in this moment, because she is very happy to trample all over everybody's constitutional rights at any given opportunity. And all of these cops cannot wait to get access to their guns. Because as we learn in this scene, so the cop pulls the guy over. The guy says he's hauling lettuce. The cop takes his license and registration, goes to run him through the database. But when the guy gets the license and registration out of his glove compartment, the cop notices he has a Rorschach mask in there. And so he goes back and gets on the radio and says, hey, listen, I need my gun unlocked because I got a guy here with a Rorschach mask. And the cop, they have to ask him all these questions like, how would you rate your sense of being in danger right now? And he's like, very high, very high. And then the gun won't come. When they finally do buzz him, the gun won't come out. It takes a couple of tries to get the gun out. Very good tension. And then when he finally gets the gun out, the guy's standing in front of his car and opens fire on him with a machine gun and shoots him full of bullets and then throws a head of lettuce into the car. I believe the premise here is that he really is carrying lettuce. He just happens to be a 7th Cavalry guy who's carrying lettuce. Like, that's just the deal. So if the cop hadn't seen the mask, I think that none of this would have happened. Even if he had, like, gone to look in the back, I think he would have seen it's just lettuce back there.
Also to note, the cop, I'm pretty sure the cop lies when he calls him to get his gun. Because he says that the man will not let me search his car. Which when he says, do you mind if I look in the back? The guy says yes. You're like, no, you can. Go ahead and look in the back.
Yes is answering, yes, I do mind if you look in the back.
But well, no, I said yes, but I'm pretty sure in the show he's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, go ahead and look.
I mean, the Rorschach mask is enough, as we learn later, enough to basically.
But that he asked before the Rorschach mask because he says, "Can I look?"
But I'm saying the lie is what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah.
The lie comes after he sees the Rorschach mask. He has to try to convince Dispatch that he needs to have his gun unlocked. Yeah. So he gets shot up, and then we cut to Oklahoma.
Yes.
I hope you're excited for a little bit of Oklahoma trivia here.
Who wouldn't be?
Oklahoma is amazing, by the way. I think a lot of people don't recognize that Oklahoma is amazing because the most famous song from Oklahoma is "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning." And so they think it's like really cheesy. And it is not really cheesy. It has cheese in it for sure. Oklahoma is one of the first, what we would today recognize as a musical. Showboat is the first one really, but Oklahoma truly launched what we would now say is what a real musical is. And one of the ways, like the opening of Oklahoma was like totally fucking revolutionary at the time. And the opening of Oklahoma, most musical theater, it was mostly musical comedy was most of what you had. And most musical theater up until Showboat it was mostly disconnected stuff. It was dance songs, but they were not, like they were like vignettes as opposed to like a story. And a story that had like a bunch of dialogue and drama included, because it's almost all comedy stuff. Usually when you opened your musical, you open with a bunch of dancing girls. And that was like the very standard way to open a musical. Oklahoma opens with a lady milking a cow, and the person who's singing "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning" isn't even on stage. So this was like a fucking bomb in the world of theater. They were like, oh my God, we've just redefined. Like, it seems crazy now, but like it redefined what musical theater was.
People
And,
fainting in the aisles.
there was a riot, actually, at the first. No. But Oklahoma's
They were
amazing.
like, who is singing? It must be God.
It is so much darker than you think it is, because it's about this cowboy, Curly, who's in love with this girl, and he works on a ranch, and there's a new guy on the ranch named Judd. And Judd's like a total creep and weirdo, and nobody likes Judd. And so at the end of this episode, they're singing a song, Poor Judd is Dead, which has double meaning here because obviously the character's name is Judd. So that's, he was obviously named Judd so they could use that fucking song. I mean, that was like 100% the reason why that guy's name is Judd. But the thing that song does not happen after Judd dies. That song happens in which all of the main heroes of the musical hang out and wish that Judd would kill himself.
There you go.
And it's a song about, like, maybe this guy should just fucking kill himself. And so it's so dark. These are the heroes. And Judd, it turns out Judd has a bad past. But for most of the musical, he's just kind of a weirdo and a creep. And you're like, I don't know, man, maybe we lay off this guy. He doesn't know how to talk to women. At the end, he does try to kill Curly, and then he does invade Curly's wedding. And Curly, he tries to stab Curly, but Curly dodges out of the way, and Judd falls on his own knife and dies. And the end of the musical, that happens. That isn't the end of the musical. The end of the musical is everybody's waiting for the verdict for Curly, whether or not he's guilty of murder. And he comes back not guilty, and everybody erupts into cheers, and they have a huge song, and then Curly and his wife go off on their honeymoon. And I just think that the idea that the end of your musical is the main character waiting for what happens with his murder charges.
It's interesting.
It's wild, man.
It's interesting he's brought up on murder charges where he's at his wedding and somebody attacked him. You'd think they'd be like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good, dramatically it's really good. Dramatically it's super fucking good. So Oklahoma's going to come up a lot in this show, and with good reason. I think that one of the things that's really interesting about it is that Oklahoma is darker than it seems, and that is kind of one of the thematic elements of Alan Moore's Watchmen, which is that these brightly colored characters are actually darker than they appear.
Yeah.
You do not care. You do not care.
No,
You're just waiting for me to finish talking.
No, I mean, what you want me to argue about Alan Moore? Because I mean, that's what he's saying.
No, I know, but we can discuss it. We don't have to argue about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think my issues with Alan Moore have been made and clear.
Yeah,
and I think he's overly cynical. I think he tends to misunderstand a lot about superheroes, I would say, in my opinion. And that's one of the things I think he misunderstands.
I think that he doesn't misunderstand superheroes. I think that he has a perspective that comes from the idea of this perspective never having been examined significantly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that he's necessarily saying this is 100% what they all are, but I do think that there's a sense of, like, have you noticed this about these guys?
I mean, anytime you hear him talk about superheroes, that's all he talks about. Is like, they're all fascists.
No, he's right. Superheroes are fascists.
He's not, though.
But they categorically are fascists. There's no way around it.
I disagree.
Why would you disagree?
Because superheroes, some are, yes, fascist. Punisher, fascist, right? Like, yeah, no problem. But Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, they do not claim themselves as the decider of justice. They stop things from happening, and then they bring these issues to the authorities and say, here you go, you guys handle it from here. That's why Batman doesn't kill. That's why Superman doesn't kill. That's why Spider-Man doesn't kill. Like, things like that. That's the opposite of fascism. They are letting the system take course.
So the reason why I think that is not a core aspect of fascism, I think that the main core aspects of fascism that superheroes 100% embody, one of them is authoritarianism, which is sort of the idea that, like, one person gets to make the decisions, and that is what happens. They get to make the decision if you're going to get beat up or not. They're going to make the decision to come bust in your house. They do not take individual rights into account. That's a fundamental thing about superheroes, and we love it. Like, we love when they bust into a guy's house, you know? That's a very it's a conflict. Is they're pro-conflict, which superheroes 100% are. It's built into the whole premise. Like, we want to see these guys fight. That's what we want. Like that's one of the selling points of the whole thing. They also the fascist leader develops a cult of personality. All of these characters create mythology around themselves, separate from their lore, but sort of like with their costumes and the way they like. Batman has created a mythology for himself in Gotham.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've had a bunch of stories about that. So, and also just sort of the idea that they feel like they are above the law in terms of they can just do whatever they want to do to bring justice as they see it. Whether or not that's correct or whatever. I mean, I like every now and again, superheroes don't work when you think about it, because all that they're doing is they are beating people up, delivering them to the cops with no usable evidence because there's no chain of custody. Like, there's nothing. None of these guys could ever go to jail. Anybody captured by Batman cannot go to jail. It just could not happen. And I know at one point Batman was deputized, I think, but I don't know if that's even a current continuity thing.
No,
he's
it's not.
been deputized. So, like, that's the thing. Like, when they deputized him back in the day, that made a lot of sense, because now he could actually bring people in because he was a deputized agent of the law. But right now, Batman shows up and he can have all the fucking evidence he wants, but that evidence has not been gathered in a way that is admissible in court.
Sure.
It will never be admissible, by the way. Like, the police can't go, okay, Batman told us this stuff, let's go investigate this stuff now. It will never be admissible. Those people can never go to jail for those things. And so that's the most fascist part of it, that they think that they're taking taking violent action to do things the way that they think they should be done is the central fundamental piece of all vigilantism is fascism. And that's the central fundamental piece of what makes superheroes fascist. I don't think they're fascist in attitude. I don't think they're fascist in behavior, like within the characters' behaviors, but the very concept is in and of itself fascist. So that's the only superhero who kind of doesn't have that kind of an origin is Superman. And that's because he's a fucking far left woke Marxist when his first appearances.
I would point out Barry Allen. He's already a cop.
Yeah, but the thing is, a cop can't go off duty without representing themselves as a cop and make arrests. They can't. You have to represent, like, if you're doing like an investigation and stuff like that, you have to, and nobody knows that he's the Flash. So the Flash can't show up and say, actually, I'm a cop.
Yeah, that's true.
The secret identity thing just fucks that totally.
Well, he revealed his secret identity, but he had facial reconstruction surgery, so nobody believed him.
But yeah, I mean, because Superman.
And also, Wally West is an agent of the IRS.
Is that still the deal?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. But like, because Superman began as like a total woke Marxist.
Yeah.
He definitely is totalitarian and authoritarian in his behaviors. And communists can be authoritarian and totalitarian. That's the Soviet Union. That's just,
sure.
They're not, it isn't that communism is totalitarian. It's that those guys were totalitarian. So he's the farthest from fascism, I think, but still the fact that Superman shows up and says, I am very strong, so therefore I get to decide, is inherently a fascist thing. And it's might makes right is the basic premise of superheroes. So, I mean, again, I don't think that when he says that, he's not saying like they are actively fascist or whatever. He's saying that
he is. You can
the
read
concept. No, but he's saying the concept is inherently fascist.
No, he's talking about the specific characters being like they're fascist characters.
Well, yeah, but I think the way he's talking about it is not like Batman personally considers himself a fascist or is fascist or whatever. The premise of Batman is fascist. There's no way around it. The fact he's a rich guy too, because fascism marries the corporation and the state in a certain way. He's the most fascist of them all. He really hits a bunch of.
I mean, Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man too. Although Iron Man's really interesting because
Batman doesn't make weapons for war. Like,
I mean, does
Wayne Industries doesn't make weapons.
Yeah, but the problem with talking about Batman or anybody's continuity with DC is that Yeah, guarantee at one point he did. Like, there's just like no, like there's like at some point Wayne Industries was making, because in the 40s during World War II, Wayne Industries had to be making bombs because there was nothing more patriotic for Wayne Industries to do than to make bombs.
I think they were just buying
War bonds.
War bonds. That's what every cover showed.
No, they're in the covers. They're trying to get you to buy war bonds. Yeah, but I would have to guess. Buddy Todd, is there a comic book in World War II that indicates that Wayne Enterprises, or whatever they were called back then, may have been building weapons as part of the war effort? I'm pretty sure there's a cover where Batman's like signing a bomb.
I'm sure. I mean, there's a cover of like Superman on the back of a fighter, like a plane, shooting the machine gun. And it's like, what are you doing, Superman? Why are you doing that?
Because it's Nazis, baby. It's Nazis. Yeah. Anyway, so I do think that superheroes are an inherently fascist concept. I love watching modern writers wrestle with that. Like, I really like Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing. And one of the things that happens in that run is that Nightwing becomes a billionaire. And rather than using that money to like create the ultimate Nightwing cave, he creates a nonprofit that will actually solve the problems in Bloodhaven and will feed people, house people, educate people, because that's the best way to end crime, is not by beating dudes up. The best way to end crime is to provide these social services. And I like that. So like, it's really, but also he still is Nightwing, so we need him to beat guys up. Like we would not like reading a long run of a comic where the main character is only involved in meetings about his nonprofit.
Me and Bill Messner-Loebs disagree on that.
I mean, I would be into it.
So much of his Flash run is him just sitting around discussing, like, how do we deal with homeless?
Oh, it's so ironic that he became homeless.
It is.
That's sad.
It's very sad.
William Messner-Loebs, one of Derek's favorite comic creators.
Yeah.
Is he dead now?
No, he's still alive.
Jesus Christ. He's hanging on.
His Patreon every month. Yeah.
Man, oh man. So anyway, the cops all get together, and it's a big deal. This is a very, very big deal. They pulled Judd Crawford, Don Johnson, out of the Performance of Oklahoma, and he goes to the hospital where the cop is in intensive care right now. He is met by Looking Glass is the name of this cop, which is, I love his mask so much.
All I can wonder is, like, can Tim Blake Nelson see through that mask?
I am so curious. But also, Tim Blake Nelson is just one of the great character actors. And one of the things that he does really well is he will bring that real hillbilly voice and then be a very smart guy. I love when they does that. That's one of my favorite.
It's great.
Tim Blake Nelson characters.
There's a world out there. There's a reality in this Omniverse where Tim Blake Nelson played Rorschach in the Watchmen movie.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested to see his portrayal. Nothing against, I think Jackie Earle Haley does an amazing job.
He kills it.
But Tim Blake Nelson, I'd be very interested to see his take on that character.
He kills it.
Which, I mean, he's kind of doing here.
Yeah. Looking Glass wears a reflective mask, and then they're talking about that the 7th Cavalry is returned, and that this has been 3 years of peace between the police and the 7th Cavalry. 7th Cavalry, very specific reference, by the way. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
No.
7th Cavalry is the army group that was mostly heavily involved in the Indian Wars, and you might recognize them from their greatest hits like Little Bighorn and The Massacre at Wounded Knee. So these guys are naming themselves after... Yeah, bunch of real heroes. That's why Little Bighorn is the pager thing, because General Custer led the 7th. Yeah. And General Custer fucking died. Yep. And he deserved it. And
then they made a porn game about him.
They did. It's very offensive.
Very offensive.
Deeply offensive. But also, Hegseth has returned Custer to, like, the Wall of Heroes or something like that, which is, like, dumb because this guy got his fucking ass kicked for no good reason. Like, he did not need to get his ass kicked like that. He was just being a maniac.
These fucking people.
So, Judd has to go to the wife of the officer's house to, tell her what happened. And my favorite bit here, he has Looking Glass pull his mask down so that he can adjust his tie in the reflection. And there's just it's such a great visual explanation of the power structure here. And it's like, give me your face, bend down. I'm going to use you to fucking adjust my tie. Like, that is just so crazy.
That's great.
We get a cut to a TV news bit, and we have Dr. Manhattan on Mars. and he is destroying a castle that he has built.
He made a sandcastle.
He made a big sandcastle.
Yeah.
Early on, people thought that this meant that Dr. Manhattan had been on Mars the whole time since the original Watchmen. I don't think that's the case. In fact, we find out later on it's almost he's been to Titan and stuff like that. The news makes it newsworthy because he has returned to Mars. I think he's not been seen for a long time is the vibe that we get here. So, and then we cut to Angela Abar giving a class presentation about her mooncakes, her Vietnamese mooncakes. She was born in Vietnam just before it became a U.S. state. Yeah, so, well, you know what's funny is that actually when you parse this out, it's the name that she got in marriage, so it's her husband's name.
And no? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So Abar is almost this was not her name in the original versions. They changed it at some point, and they made her Abar. And Abar is almost certainly a reference to a movie called Abar, the first black Superman from the 70s. And so that is a very heavy nod. And we're not doing any spoilers here, but that choice becomes even more obvious as we get further along. Abar, first black Superman is pretty good. It's not like it's like a mad scientist movie, really.
Which is how Superman started.
Really?
Yeah, the first version of Superman, he was a...
Oh, that's right.
Mad scientist, yeah.
He gets his powers from there's a black family moves into a white neighborhood and gets things go not great, so he gives this serum to a bodyguard that makes him super powered. So it's I think it's I quite enjoy that one. It's not like one of the greatest movies of all time. What's really awesome is that they shot that movie. They shot that movie in black neighborhoods. They shot it in Watts and they shot it in Baldwin Hills, but they had no permits. And they had hired real motorcycle gang guys to play motorcycle gang in the movie. And the cops got called on the production because they were illegally filming. And the motorcycle gang started driving around the cop cars in a menacing fashion to make the cops leave.
That's great.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I actually hosted a screening of that movie with good old Tobar Mayo, who plays Abar. He was my guest, and he was I think incredibly shocked that anybody was going to show Abar, the first black Superman, in a movie theater in the 21st century. He was genuinely shocked, but he lives local, so he came, and he was really nice. It was really, really great. Good. Anyway, Angela Abar is going to be our hero in this program. I do want to pull one thing. I'm not going to spoil stuff, but I want to put this in everybody's mind, which is that her superhero name is Sister Night.
Yep.
In early development stuff of the Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons Watchmen, the character of Hooded Justice, who plays a very big role in this series, he had two different names they were choosing between, and it was Hooded Justice and Brother Night. So the decision to name her Sister Night is almost certainly related to that small piece of trivia.
Yeah.
And there are revelations about the Hooded Justice later on that are new additions, but they're not retcons. I think it's really amazing how this show deals with this. But it's not a retcon, but it's a new addition. And I think that the name Brother Knight may have in fact been what inspired that change on some level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
that makes sense.
You know, and also the way that Hooded Justice looks with the hangman's noose around his neck.
Yeah.
This change that is made in this series, we're not going to spoil anything. His costume makes a million times more sense.
Sure. We're not going to spoil it, but if you have a brain cell, you can figure this out.
We also find out that Robert Redford's been president for a long time. He has created racial reparations, Redfordations, and this makes Angela's son freak out, and
He's
attacks
also
the kid.
he's on a poster of the 4 most important presidents ever with Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Nixon.
Nixon, who in Watchmen was president for 5 terms,
Yeah.
and who we see later on in this episode, his face is on Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
I think something that's really interesting in this. So, like later on, there's a couple of newspaper headlines that are really interesting. One of them is that the Statue of Liberty is closed because the KKK have attacked it. And
This is one thing I was thinking about, because we also see at one point a photo of the Twin Towers.
yeah, so Twin Towers never fell. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It had to fall.
Why?
Wasn't all of New York destroyed? By the
No,
squid?
no, only Times Square. People died. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's just Times
But the
Square.
towers stood just at Times Square is where the squid.
Yeah.
And speaking of the squid, the next bit so the point is that the KKK attacking the Statue of Liberty and the intense presence of white supremacy under Redford, who's very
Wasn't that
progressive.
The opening of the Watchmen, the original Watchmen script?
Yes, it is. It's probably a reference to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the goddamn Watchmen. Yeah, so when the first version of Watchmen they tried to make into a movie that opens with an attack on the Statue of Liberty, and the Watchmen show up to stop it, and one of the thugs goes, "Oh no, it's the goddamn Watchmen," and then the movie ends with the surviving characters being teleported into the real world.
There you go.
So
Just like in that Simpsons episode.
But the premise here is that under Redford, who is very liberal, who has done racial reparations, who has created more national parks than anybody ever before, has put more species on the no-kill list than anybody else ever has before, that this is what has really reignited intense race hate. And that's definitely Lindelof picking up on the response to Obama.
Yeah.
That this shit breaks the minds of these people, these racists and these jerks. That kind of shit breaks their minds. So
Yeah.
But speaking of the squid, when Angela's taking her son home and she's yelling at him, there's a squid rain that happens. There's an alarm that goes off, and then there's a squid rain that happens. Tiny little baby squids fall out of the sky.
Squids. Yeah.
If you did not know Watchmen, this would make no sense.
Watching this, there were a couple of times I was like, if you don't know Watchmen, you have to be so confused by some of the stuff that's happening. Like when it shows the TV and it's like, Dr. Manhattan's on Mars. You'd be like, what?
So I think that the squids would not be confusing because I think that people had been trained enough at this point for like an HBO series to be like, oh, I wonder what the reveal about the squids is going to be. Yeah. And so if you knew Watchmen, especially if you knew Watchmen the comic, because the movie does not have the giant squid. In the movie, there is the big attack that is Dr. Manhattan attacks. And then in the comic, though, the big attack on New York is a genetically modified organism that looks like a giant space squid that sends off a psychic wave that just kills people within the immediate area. And then everybody, like, it's like a nuke. So, like, the farther you get away, the less impact it has, but the impact is still horrible. Like, then people lose their mind. And there's people who have nightmares every single night for the rest of their lives, you know? And then there's people who had just bad experiences. They just felt fucked up. And so that was the thing that Ozymandias did to end the coming nuclear war.
Yeah.
And so this show is a sequel to the comic, not to the movie.
Yes.
Very explicitly so. And this makes it really explicit because even though there's no reason that we would understand why there are squids falling out of the sky, we recognize the reference to the original comic with the big space squid. So we
Also,
get to
it's
see.
great if you like calamari. It's like there's a couple of every now and again, just free calamari.
I do wonder, like, if they're edible. I do wonder that. Do people put buckets out?
I don't know.
That's
I
interesting.
will say that they show them like cleaning off their cars, but nobody's cleaning off their house. Your house has to be covered in squid too. It's gross.
I wonder if they have like weird like systems built into their roofs.
They could.
You know what I mean? Like, because it happens so much that
Yeah.
It happens so much that they're familiar with it, but also sometimes there are false alarms too, which the kid thinks it could be. So I think that might be I like that idea.
Yeah.
So
Dig it.
Angela meets her husband, Cal. What? Now that I told you, I remind you his last name is Abar. Are we really?
No spoilers.
I know it's impossible.
6-year-old show. Can't spoil it.
Maybe people didn't watch it. I just want people to be able to experience it. You know? I mean,
Well, they shouldn't be listening to this if they haven't watched it.
No, they're watching it with us. Like if they're watching episode 1 this week and they're going to watch episode 2 next week.
They should not. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
I thought you meant like they have it on and they're listening to us over it. Be like, this is a terrible way to watch it.
No, this is not our commentary, but they listened to it first for this episode. People who may have missed it or whatever.
Sure.
Put it on and then watch week by week with us. And I just want to, I mean, it's going to be pretty fucking obvious. There's no good way to talk about this stuff without fucking spoiling some pieces.
Yeah.
It's Yahya Abdul-Mateen II playing Cal. And this is only the beginning of his intense superhero career. He is Black Manta in the both of the Aquaman movies, and he had our next show will be starring him because he is playing Simon Williams in Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Love this guy, by the way.
He's great.
Love this guy. He by the way, he has a Tony Award. This speaks to the discussion we were having on Watchmen this month. Because we were talking about Creepshow and how many of the actors in Creepshow are older actors who, when you look back, you're like, oh, this guy's he's in the Brady Bunch. He's in this. Oh, and he won 6 Tonys. And, and so Yahya has himself a Tony Award. Maybe more to come. Who knows? So we see that they have a good relationship. They have another kid. The kids, they're both black. The kids are not black. So the show doesn't explain what that is, but it's quite clear these are adopted kids.
Yeah.
And she gets there, and he tells her that her beeper's been going off, and it has said Little Bighorn. And he's like, what's a Little Bighorn? And she goes, I need you to pick up the kid from school, where I'm going to take care of this. She goes to the bakery that she's opening, which is called Milk and Hanoi. And in case that wasn't annoying enough, the little motto is, let Saigons be Saigons.
There you go.
Because she's from Vietnam and is an American citizen as a result. Because, again, we see their American flag on their house, and it has a gazillion fucking stars.
Yeah, we learned earlier that, Vietnam is a state now.
It was the 51st state, but I don't remember since watching this, but I'm assuming there must have been a bunch more states added.
Sure.
Since then.
We also get a, what's his name? Ryan Murphy reference here.
Yes, because there's a TV show called American Hero Story that is obviously supposed to be a reference to American Horror Story, American Crime Story. And I mean, brilliant, like really brilliant. I think that, Alan Moore did a really good job of using current media in Watchmen as a way to as a touchstone to understand what was going on. And I think that this is really terrific. And it gives you a real sense of the space that superheroes occupy in this world, which is they're not present, but their cultural impact looms large.
It's actually, again, one of the things I disagree with Alan Moore on in Watchmen is that he's like, well, if there were actual people running around in costumes, there would be no comic books about superheroes. And it's like, well, we have shows about cops and doctors. They exist. There's no reason there would not be stories about superheroes.
Yeah, but I think it really works in Watchmen in a really great way. Like this alt reality concept that pirate comics became the one that won out after World War II. Sure. I think it's great. I that's like the explanation for why it's that way. Oh, because they're superheroes. But I just love that, and not just that, but I love that he really weaves it in. It isn't just like a reference. Like
no, he weaves it in.
Tales of the Black Freighter is like a major part of the comic.
Yeah.
So I actually agree with you. I do think that if there were real superheroes, we probably would have. Especially because there's only one superpowered superhero. Only Dr. Manhattan has superpowers. Everybody else just dudes. I could actually imagine people creating other superheroes because we only have the one real one, and he doesn't do anything anymore.
He just sits around.
So she goes into her bakery. She meets there's an old guy out front who we're going to learn later on is the kid from the opening. And he has the newspaper, and he stops her, and he's like, is that your bakery? She's like, yeah. He goes, when's it going to open? She says, a few months. And then he asks her, do you think I could lift 200 pounds?
And she goes, yeah, sure. Very condescendingly, yeah, sure.
I mean, that's what you say to an old person asking a weird question.
Sure.
Of course, the fact that she is going to find him next to a 200-pound man hanging from a tree later on adds some depth to that particular question.
She should have said, yeah, whatever, Iron Eagle. And just moved on.
Yes, Louis Gossett Jr., very old, not as old as Will Reeves is, because Will Reeves at this point is going to be almost 100 years old. Well, he probably is 100 years old at this point. 21, he's 7, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
he's definitely.
in theory. I mean, I don't think there's anything that says this takes place in 2019, but in theory, it takes place in 2019, right?
I
There's
think
nothing to
it
say it's
does.
not
I think
modern,
within the show at one point they they definitely specify 2019.
do they? Okay.
Yeah, they specify it with, I think it's the cop call. When he calls something around the cop, there's this reference to 2019, like they're giving a date, you know. So she goes into the bakery. She has a secret lair in the bakery. Classic superhero stuff. She has a secret identity. She punches in a keypad that her password is 1985.
Oh, big Back to the Future fan.
It's the year that Watchmen came out.
Yeah, but in the universe, it's Back to the Future.
Do you think Back to the Future came out in 1985 in this universe?
Sure, why not? I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. So she gets into her very cool sister Nightmobile. Her costume is fucking rules, by the way.
Yes, her costume's very cool.
Absolutely fucking rules. Like, I cannot get over how, like, the second she puts on that costume, I can't get over how good it is, and I can't get over how the black makeup really works.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it doesn't feel like a cheap I'm embarrassed of superheroes thing. It feels like, yeah, probably that would be how you would do some of this stuff sometimes. Also, no spoilers, but we do find out of another character who utilizes makeup on his face to maintain his secret identity. So it fits, it rhymes. So Regina King plays the role, by the way. Damon Lindelof he wrote the role for her.
Oh, did he?
He wrote the role for her, and he sent her the script, the very early version of the script. He sent her the script, and it included a drawing of Sister Night.
Okay.
And so that was what sold her. She got to see how cool she was going to be.
I was wondering that watching this, if like they sent her the script. I didn't know they sent her like a photo or a drawing or anything. But I was like, I imagine her getting the script and she's reading it and she's like, I play some lady that has a bakery, and then gets to like page 40 and she's like, oh shit. I got a cool car and costume, my man.
Yeah. Apparently nobody who's in this show more or less had ever read Watchmen. They were not familiar with it. Jeremy Irons said that he had no idea anything about the character he was playing, but he liked Lindelof's enthusiasm and said, if he thinks I'm useful for this, then I'll do it.
Good for him. Good for him. I'm a firm believer that actors and stuff, they don't need to know the source material of the comics to do a good job. You know?
Man.
If it's a good story, if it's a good script, it'll work.
So she drives directly to a Nixonville, obviously referencing Hoovervilles. Remember those?
Yes. Yeah. Well, not personally, but I've read about them.
You know what? One of the things that's really great is that in the opening song to All in the Family, they sing about what a great man Herbert Hoover was. And that generation would never say that, because Herbert Hoover oversaw the Great Depression. Yes. And the homeless camps that popped up, they called them Hoovervilles. So the idea that Archie Bunker is like, oh, Herbert Hoover, what a man. Like, just never, I always thought it was very, very funny. She busts right into it.
That song wasn't written for the show, right? That's an old song.
Is it? I don't know. I feel like
I thought it was an old song.
Okay, now we're going to have to do middle-aged men Googling, because I am kind of curious. All in the Family theme is the word I'm missing here. No, that was, I think, the song is called Those Were the Days, parentheses, theme to All in the Family.
I always thought it was an old song.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller prayed, songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days. Imagine you tuning into this episode of this across the Omniverse. That sounds really interesting.
We just got demonetized.
So she busts right into this guy's trailer and just like beats the shit out of him and throws him in the fucking trunk and drives back to the police headquarters. And there's a big meeting. All the cops are there, and they're watching a video, and it's a video from the 7th Cavalry. And they're like, we're everywhere. We're invisible. We're coming. You're going to find out soon what we're up to. So the cops are like, we find out earlier. Actually, I skipped this. We find out earlier when Angela is talking to the class that there was an event called the White Night. in which the 7th Cavalry came to the homes of cops and attacked and killed them. And she was a victim of White Knight. And she tells the kids that she retired from being a cop. But after the White Knight, because this idea that the bad guys could get to their houses, all police became secret police, and they all have double lives. They all, like when Judd goes to the wife of the cop, and she's like, "Okay, what was the story you told that when he was out of the house?" Like, "Oh, night school." And he goes, "All right, well, the story we're going to tell here is that he got carjacked and he got shot in a carjacking." Yeah. And I kind of love this because obviously the cops in masks is bad. Like, it's 100% bad. We know that. We live it today. We don't like it. It's bad. It's absolute Gestapo tactics.
I'm going to take a hot take on this. I'm against it.
Yeah. But one of the things about being a cop is that there's a level of pride in the job, and that within cop-oriented communities, there is honor. Like, people think that you're great because you're, the cop down the block. When Judd tells her, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take out carjacked," it just takes all of the honor away from him getting machine gunned. It just has there's nothing. He's just a chump who got shot on the street, and I kind of love that. I mean, it's a way of making it clear that this idea that they are secret cops actually is like demoralizing. It sucks. Like, one of the reasons you get into law enforcement is to be the hero. And although now everybody gets into ICE to beat people up, which is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany, by the way.
Yes.
You watch this episode and think to yourself, did Donald Trump watch this and decide this was the blueprint for his second term?
No, I don't think he watched it. Stephen Miller. I could see watching this and being like, "Oh, okay. That's what we'll do."
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, pretty smart. At the meeting, Judd says he's going to invoke Article 4, which is going to let the cops use their guns for 24 hours as they please. The guy who is in control of the guns, Panda, who is wearing a giant, ratty, smelly-looking panda head.
That's the one costume I don't like. Just because it's like everyone else has there's the regular cops who have the yellow bandanas that goes over their noses, right? And then there's the special cops like Sister Midnight and
Red Scare,
Looking Glass, and all them, where they have like specialized costumes, and you get the sense of like, okay, they're like the detectives, right? Mm-hmm. And they get their own thing. And then this guy's got this giant ratty panda head on. I'm like, there's no way it's comfortable. Like, the other ones at least look relatively comfortable. That does not, and it looks too much like a Borderlands kind of thing. Like, oh, look at this wacky looking dude.
See, I don't think it's. I think it's different. I think that he without a doubt is a bureaucrat. That's his job. His job is to be a bureaucrat. Yeah. He probably doesn't leave police headquarters, so he doesn't wear that. He never wears the mask ever. Like, at an all hands meeting, everybody puts their masks on. You know what I mean? But I guarantee he's sitting in his office not wearing a fucking mask. And he's the guy.
Let me ask you this: do you think he did not have a choice of mask?
No, I think that. So here's
personal.
No, so here I was going to finish and tell you what I thought about that. So when the Article 4 gets authorized, he tells Judd that you made a huge mistake. I think that he does not. He is probably closer to old school police. He might have. You know what I mean? I think that he wears that mask as a little protest. Like, this is all ludicrous. Here's my fucking... You want me to wear a fucking mask? Here you go. It's a stupid fucking mascot head. And I think that is the thing. Because he doesn't seem to vibe with the other cops. They hate him. They're yelling at him.
Yeah. Well, that's why I could see it being a thing where it's forced on him. Because he is...
No, I don't think Judd would do that. Judd would never do that.
I don't want to spoil anything.
I know. No, we're not going to spoil, but even with that revelation, I don't think he would ever do that. He's a pretty decent cop most of the time. Here in this episode, I mean,
yeah.
I don't think that he's treating the cops badly. I don't think that that's what he's doing. I don't think he's running a bullying.
No, I agree, but to me, that guy Panda is kind of like internal affairs, and I could see the other cops being like, "No, you got to wear this thing because we don't like internal."
I just don't think they could. It would be. I don't think that you would be sitting in a meeting with Judd wearing that if the other cops were like doing that to you. I think that also, by the way, one of the ways you create cohesion in a unit is to not necessarily allow the guys to fucking bully somebody that badly. Like, that's just not positive. That creates schisms within the unit. Like, you want them to be. I mean, obviously, sometimes you want to pit them against one another, but generally speaking, you don't want to have an allowed culture of. You can like look the other way for a culture of bullying, but you don't want to be sitting in an all hands meeting and have the bullying happening in all hands.
No, sure, but we see the bullying is happening, and we also see early on with the cop in the beginning who gets shot when he calls in, and they're like, "Well, patch you through the panic." He's like, "Just give me anybody else." Like, it's clear the show is not trying to hide the fact that none of these guys, none of the police officers like.
But he doesn't like them either. I think again, that's why I think that his mask is a fuck you.
8,000-page rule book,
right?
That he's sitting there with. It's all covered in dust and stuff. So he's a real.
No, I think that it's his fuck you. This whole thing. That's what I think. I think he's like, here, I'm a fucking mascot. I don't remember if this is addressed later on in the other episodes.
I don't think it is.
Well, we haven't watched anything else except for the first episode. We're watching
I've not watched
week by week.
In 6 years. So
yeah, in 60 years.
6 years.
So Article 4 passes. Everybody gets free use of guns for 24 hours. Judd goes back to his office and he finds Angela sitting in his chair with her feet on his desk, and she is drinking from an owl mug.
Yeah, and there's an Under the Hood book.
There's an Under the Hood book, which is the book written by the first Night Owl in Watchmen. And they have this. This conversation they have is what Judd's not a good guy, but I think that Judd has good cop elements to him in the way that he runs things day to day. And when she's like, "I got a guy in the trunk. I knew you were going to ask for me to do this. Want me to put him in the pod?" And his response is, not because he's worried that like this guy's going to spill information, but because he's like, "Oh, this is a headache. Like, you've given me a little bit of a headache here. This guy could make a complaint. This could be a thing. Like, this, if this guy's not 7th Cavalry, it's a real problem. And you didn't get an official thing. I'm going to have to protect you. I'm going to have to do all this, you know?" So I think that's one of the reasons why I think that he would not allow the bullying. I don't think he wants the trouble.
I am going to use something that suggests otherwise, in that he allows them to torture the guy.
So here's the thing. I disagree with that too, because when they go into, so they bring the guy over to Looking Glass to the pod, and they have a pod. He's sitting inside this little round room. It's got screens all around. Looking Glass begins asking him questions. They start with like bright lights, and then they begin flashing different images on the screens all around him. And at one point he's like, I have rights. And he goes, "Actually, you know what? You're a terrorist, so you don't." And that's another modern thing, by the way. Yeah. That's like 100% declaring certain Americans terrorists so that you don't have to do
certain
due process.
Venezuelans terrorists.
But I mean, within America, they've been talking about the Democrats as an extreme terrorist party and stuff like that. They're working towards rounding up Democrats.
Yeah. But I'm saying right now they're just murdering.
They're just murdering people, but those aren't citizens. So the difference here is these guys are citizen, right? So their premise here is that we don't care because you're a terrorist, so you don't have the protections of citizenry, and so that's why it's okay to beat him. The same way that you were in Iraq, they would beat people in Iraq and stuff like that because they're not citizens. They're terrorists, and once you're qualified.
But what you're saying is that he's good police, but they never book this guy. They never.
He's a terrorist. They don't have to.
I would think that they would have to set this up for a court of law to prove that he's a terrorist.
I don't know that they do. That's the thing. And also the point of it is that they get the info out of him, so he is a terrorist. You know what I mean? Like, and then
he 100% is. Yeah, he 100% is. But
I can't believe that you're living.
No. Don't bullshit with that crap. We're talking about what's going on in this show.
Yeah.
In what we see in this show, there's nothing to suggest that you wouldn't still need to go through paperwork and proper channels for this to stand up in court, which it will not stand up in court because they beat him to get the information out of him.
But obviously the rules are different once you invoke terrorism. It's obvious because that's what Looking Glass says to him. You're a terrorist. We don't have to do that for you. So that's the thing. So those rules are different. And that's exactly how it is today, too. That's the reason why they're throwing around the word terrorist for all different kinds of people. Because technically, once you say somebody's a terrorist, the burden of proof becomes much lighter, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, and I think that's the thing. It's happening today. What is happening in the show is happening today. And once you use the terrorist, the big T word, everything kind of, all the civil rights stuff goes out the door. And so you don't have rights as a citizen anymore because you're a terrorist. And then when we get the confession out of you, well, did you see you're a terrorist? Then we were right not to give you rights. That's what I think is the deal here. And I think it really is another thing that definitely presages the world. I mean, he's pulling from stuff that was happening in the past.
No, very much so, very much so.
So, I mean, he's just seeing where it's going. It's not like he's like out of nowhere making these kinds of things, but it is very close. So, yeah, he goes in the pod and he keeps denying that he knows any 7th Cavalry people or anybody involved with the shooting. And we get a bunch of really weird imagery, including Mount Rushmore with Nixon on it. And then Looking Glass comes out and he finally ends up, like, what Looking Glass is doing is essentially torture. Like, there's no moment where this is not torture. And the pod is a thing that they have. It's obviously high tech. It's part of the deal. So, and I'm sure that I bet that the laws are different in Tulsa post White Knight too.
Sure, maybe, but we're not made, because it's also a thing where they're like, oh, we need special permission to unlock our guns and things like that, which is very different from what you would think with how they're treating this guy. That
I mean,
be more
it's
gun open.
I mean, my guess there is that this is either a Redford administration thing or it is another White Knight thing, which is that the violence was so back and forth that the police. I don't remember if this is examined later on in the show. Anyway, Looking Glass comes out and is like, oh no, this guy knows. Like, he's being deceptive, and he lists off his pupils dilating at certain images and stuff like that. And he's like, but he's not going to tell unless he has a good reason to. And that's when Angela drags him into another room, beats the shit out of him in a shot that's very similar to the moment in the original Watchmen comic when Rorschach is in prison and he kills a guy, and we see in the toilet, and first we see the water coming out from underneath the jail cell, and then blood, and it's the exact same thing.
Also, earlier in the comic, when the guy is washing the blood off of the sidewalk, from the comedian, and the video by the Rorschach guys quote Rorschach. They quote him.
Yeah, I mean, they got Rorschach masks. They quote Rorschach, and they end up going tick tock, tick tock. It's really funny because in some of the previews and the trailers for this, that was a piece of it, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, come on. Like, but I think it all works. I think this is a magnificent TV show. I think it's an unbelievable sequel to Watchmen. Yeah. I think it's kind of perfect.
I don't quite know. Like, it's interesting because, like, the TikTok thing is it's meta. Textually, it is a reference to Watchmen, the comic, and to Dr. Manhattan in particular. But here, to me, it felt more of a thing of them just being like, time's running out.
The way that they chant it is really fucking menacing. So it just works, you know?
Yeah.
So the cops go to the ranch where these guys who were involved in the shooting of that cop survives. They go to the ranch to have an assault. We meet another masked cop, Pirate Jenny.
Yes.
That is a reference to both. Well, specifically, it's a reference to Threepenny Opera, which has a song called Pirate Jenny, and that Threepenny Opera was one of the influences on Tales of the Black Freighter that Alan Moore has quoted. What are you laughing at?
I just think it's funny that all these cops just love these musicals.
I'm not convinced that the cop named himself Pirate Jenny after Threepenny. I mean, maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe she did. I don't know. She's cool.
There's nothing that says that, like, you know. And in truth, actually, like, one cop in this case would like musicals because the earlier.
There's two of them.
Well, no, there's Pirate Jenny.
Judd.
Well, Judd knows the song and says he enjoyed watching Oklahoma, but he also makes it clear he did not want to go.
He didn't want to go, and he didn't think that those guys put their hearts into it. But it's clear that because he had performed Oklahoma in college, so like that is not just something you do. Like And he knows the fucking song, and he fucking performs the shit out of it, like at dinner. So, yeah, no, he has thoughts on musicals. So inside the ranch house, we see that the cavalry guys are there, and they're pulling lithium batteries out of watches, and they're putting them all in a bucket. And alarm goes off. They know that somebody's on the perimeter, and they go out. We end up with the cavalry guys on the back of this pickup truck with this giant fucking Gatling gun, and they just mow down all these cows and all these cops, just fucking blow them to pieces.
These poor cows.
And Sister Night and Red Scare take position behind cows, and they just keep shooting. Like, they do not. So this cow that she's behind is getting whittled down to nothing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then they have to change the belt, the bullet belt. She takes that opportunity to go run up and shoot these guys. She is truly badass. I mean, she is kind of ACAB does include Sister Night. However, she is badass. Like, and they give her a lot of badass shit to do.
Yes.
She goes into the house, and there's a guy in there who starts fighting her, and it turns out that the guy that she's fighting is the guy that shot the cop, but he has put a pill in his mouth, and he swallows it, and he dies. He has taken the poison pill. She's upset. The other guys have escaped and gotten into an airplane, and so the airplane takes off, and Sister Night's like, fuck, they're getting away. You got to stop them. And she goes, they're right under you. And I had not remembered this scene. Like, I just forgot about it.
This is a great reveal.
And I'm like,
An
under
amazing
you.
reveal.
And then it reveals they're in a fucking owl ship up in the clouds.
Yeah.
And they drop down in the owl ship, and they start chasing this plane. And so Judd wants to make sure these guys are dead for a number of reasons. And he forces Jenny into a climb that the ship can't really handle so that he can hit the plane with the flamethrower. Yeah. And then the ship crashes. It's great. It's really great. And I thought it was so fucking cool. The thing is, the owl ship is one of the coolest looking ships ever. So I don't even mind that they're using the owl ship design here because it's just such a great look.
My headcanon for this, and I don't think this gets discussed later on, but my headcanon for this is that post Watchmen comic, Night Owl, aka Dan, gives out his schematics to law enforcement.
I don't think so, because he's on the run at the end of Watchmen.
Is he on the run?
Yep.
Why is he on the run?
Because they are vigilantes that are illegal, and they were involved in this whole thing, and the government was killing everybody that was involved in the squid thing in the first place. Like, they're on the run. The
government's not killing everybody involved in the squid thing.
Anyway,
they think the squid thing is other dimensional. It was all Ozymandias' idea, unless you're saying
this show indicates that they know it's not the case.
Yes, but this show also indicates that they don't feed into that. Like
I don't remember why they're on the run, but they're on the run at the end of the story because they're visiting Sally and they're saying goodbye, and they have new identities.
They have new identities, but in the show, can't talk about it.
No, we can. I mean, she shows up, but I think that, she's got a different name, and she obviously came in from the cold and became a Fed.
Yeah,
but you don't take on new identities if you're not on the run. That's what you do when you're on the run.
But if she came in from the cold, then he could as well.
He could have, or he could have just died.
I don't remember them discussing what happens to him in the show.
He's not young.
No, he's not.
It's pretty plausible that he died.
Sure.
Because she's young, because she's a teenager when they first meet. But he is in his 20s or 30s, and then in 85, he's like in his 50s. He's like in his late 40s, 50s.
Yeah. So
now this show is real time, so it goes from 85 to 2015. That means that he would be 90-something? 80-something? So it's very plausible that Dan died.
Sure.
And we know that Dan is given to getting fat. So if he's not keeping his body together, it's a good way to die. So I guess it's possible that's the headcanon, but they definitely don't tell us that. We have another great transition, which is that we go up to the sky, the stars, and then we go the stars turn into some kind of strange texture, and then we end up in a English country manor. And we have a guy, the lord of the country manor, is riding his horse. He is riding, by the way, a pale horse. You'll remember that Pale Horse was the name of the punk band in Watchmen.
Okay, I would not remember.
It's the name of the punk band, the Knothead, the bands of the Knotheads. That's the concert that's happening when the squid shows up.
Yeah.
And obviously the Pale Horse, this is an apocalypse thing, which is why Moore used it in Watchmen. And then so him riding the Pale Horse also I think is meaningful because we're just going to say it. This is Adrian Veidt. This is Ozymandias. The show makes almost no effort to keep this hidden from anybody who's read the comic. And, you know, he's the guy that rode a pale horse. Death rides a pale horse. He's the guy that did the thing that killed millions of people in an effort to bring world peace about. So he comes off his horse. He goes into his house, beautiful manor house. He has a maid named Ms. Crookshanks who is toweling him down as he sits naked at a typewriter. And then his butler, Philip, shows up and says, "Hey, master, I have a gift for you for your anniversary." And he's like, okay. So they go to the dining room, and we have the Lord of the Manor sitting there, and there is a cake made for him that Philip has made. It is the exact colors of Ozymandias' outfit.
Yes.
Again, it's not subtle. Like, it's just not subtle.
No.
And he also has a pocket watch that he has repaired that he gives to.
And by the way, the cake does not taste good.
No, it tastes like shit, but he lies to them about it.
He lies to him out, and the guy hands him a horseshoe to cut the cake.
To cut the cake with it. He goes, "What am I going to do with this?" He goes, "Oh, yes, a knife would be more appropriate, wouldn't it?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't worry about it." And he just starts eating the whole cake. But he eats one bite because fucking Jeremy Irons' amazing look on his face when he eats that. Like, it's tough to do that. It's comical, but not to do it in a comedic way.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't break the character, you know?
No.
So, but this is he has a pocket watch that was broken that has been fixed by Mr. Phillips, and he wanted to surprise the Lord of the Manor. And this gets Ozymandias pretty excited. He goes, "You know what? I just wrote a 5-act play, and you'll be happy to learn. And I want the two of you to play the lead roles." And they ask, "What's the name?" And he says, "The Watchmaker's Son."
And he says it's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy. Yes, a tragedy in 5 acts. Obviously, for those who read Watchmen, the Watchmaker's son is none other than Dr. Manhattan, who is the son of a watchmaker. And the watchmaker philosophical question plays heavily in Watchmen. That philosophical question is that if you found a watch on the beach, what would you assume created that watch? Would you assume it had a maker, or would you assume that it had grown up naturally through a process or whatever? This is like one of those big anti-evolution arguments. That's the argument for God. When you find a system that is so immaculately designed, there must be a creator. And that's one of the reasons why Moore uses the watchmaker, because there is a version of that, which is the premise that, oh no, there is a God. He made the watch, but he abandoned it on the beach.
Sure.
So that's the God. God is the watchmaker who abandons his creation. So that is what Moore is playing with in Watchmen. So, but yeah, anybody who knows anything about that would know that John was a watchmaker's son. We cut to the Abar's house. Judd is there with his wife Jane. They're having a gay old time. They have all the kids at the table. There's a very interesting shot from above through a lamp that is clock-like in the way that it is shot. Obviously purposeful. Judd goes off to do a line of blow off his finger. It's a tough week. And then he comes back, and this is where we discover that he thought that the actors didn't have their hearts in Oklahoma, and that he had played Curly in his own production, and they can't believe it. Judd, you a musical? And then he sings a song.
And then he goes, "Heartbeat."
He sings "People Will Say We're in Love." And he does a great job. Don Johnson, was a singer.
Yeah, he had the album went platinum, gold, something. Heartbeat was a big hit.
Yeah. So in this, the use of this song is interesting too. So in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, this song is playing. Lori, who's the main woman, and Curly, who's the hero. Everybody thinks that they're in love, and but like they don't know that everybody knows, and so they talk about like, hey, we got to behave better so that people don't know what's actually going on here. Neither one of them really want to like admit that they're in love, and for Judd to sing that with the revelations that come later is a meaningful choice. You know, he's like saying, hey, let's pretend that what's happening isn't happening. And that ends up being a very, very meaningful choice. He has a big gash on his head.
He does from the,
by the way, the crash.
Crash of the battleship.
Yeah, so outside at the end of the day, at the end of the dinner, Judd and Angela are talking about the raid, and he's like, why would they want these? Well, she's like, why would they want these batteries? You can just buy them, right? And he's like, no, not these. Or maybe she says not these because these are the banned ones. These are the synthetic lithium. Synthetic lithium is invented in Watchmen. It's sort of the thing that powers the electric car revolution and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she says, because it gives everybody cancer. So I don't remember what happens next, but obviously I don't know if that's true or not, because one of the things about Dr. Manhattan was that they made everybody think he was giving everybody cancer.
Yeah.
So it would be pretty easy to convince people that synthetic lithium that he invented with Adrian would also be giving people cancer. But basically, they come up with the idea they're trying to make a cancer bomb. They're trying to make a dirty bomb that will blow up and give people cancer. Judd goes home, and the American Hero Story Minutemen commercial is playing. And
it's actually a Minute Men.
And
that's a James Gunn joke, by the way.
It gets all of our classic characters in there, but it's animated, so we don't actually get to see them for real. But it's Hooded Justice, Captain Metropolis, the Comedian, Mothman, good old Dollar Bill, best death in Watchmen.
Yes.
Dollar Bill gets killed because he's chasing somebody out of a bank that they've robbed, and he goes through the revolving door, and his cape gets caught in the revolving door, and he gets choked to death.
Yeah.
Incredible Dollar Bill, man.
If I remember correctly, Hooded Justice, when they show him, he's standing in front of a pool table.
Yes.
That connects into the comic.
Yes. And Silk Spectre and Night Owl. So all of our original Minutemen characters from the comic are there. I kind of love this. I think this is such a great idea for a show in this universe. I just think it's like really cool. And
it
I
makes
think
perfect sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, really neat. Especially with the Ryan Murphy American crime horror yada yada story, where they heavily fictionalize shit. So like I can imagine this is a very lewd and lascivious take on the Minutemen, because there's plenty of stuff in the Minutemen that by now is almost certainly, I think Rorschach's journal reveals a bunch of stuff like about the Comedian and shit like that.
I mean, I would think that I don't know how much Under the Hood revealed.
Because
it didn't reveal their true identities. But
I don't think Under the Hood would have revealed that the Comedian did what the Comedian did.
I don't think so either.
Which is rape Silk Spectre, because I don't think the Comedian would let him live.
No, he wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of guy you don't say bad shit about in public.
Yeah.
So Judd gets a phone call, and the phone call is, hey, so the cop has woken up and he's in the hospital ready to give a statement. So he leaves to go to the hospital, and as he's driving, we see that he has all these guards. Like, Judd's the only cop with a face, and one of the reasons he can do that is because he has a million guards everywhere. But as he's driving, his tires blow out. He does the absolute worst thing you can do in this situation on a dark road.
Gets out and stands around.
Stands around. Because I don't know why his first thought wouldn't be, because he's on the phone with the governor earlier, and he's telling the governor, don't worry, we don't think there's going to be any reprisals because these guys know that we'll fuck with them if they fuck with us. But still, like, you got to think this could be a reprisal. But anyway, he realizes that there was a...
Well, he makes a series of bad decisions here. Because when he's getting up to leave, his wife is like, you shouldn't drive. He's like, I'll have some of the guys drive me. And then he just gets in the truck and drives off on his own. Like, so if he had listened to his wife and taken 2 or 3 other cops with him, he'd be possibly safer, right? Like, There's a couple of mistakes he makes.
I mean, there's some revelations later on that make his decision-making process make more sense.
Sure. But we're not supposed to spoil things.
Well, you shouldn't have brought up that he made bad choices then.
He makes them right here in the episode.
I know, but like if you know what those choices are...
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't discuss the episode. Because you might want to discuss future episodes as I discuss what happens in the episode. Okay.
Oh, man. So Judd gets... Something happens. Judd gets hit with a strobe light. And then Angela is having sex with her hunky husband, Cal, when a phone call comes in. And in the pantry. The phone call comes in, and she gets told, you better go drive here right now, and you're going to find something. So she does go. She has a shotgun hidden in the head of her bed. Fucking love that. That's so cool. I want that. I have night terrors, though, so I probably shouldn't have a shotgun hidden in the head of my bed, but I love it. She drives out to the spot. She gets out there, and there's a really fucking bright light, and she's like, turn that off or I'm going to shoot. And the light goes off, she goes up, and she sees Will, the old man. He's holding the watch over this boy note. So in case we did not know this was the same guy, this makes it very explicit. And next to him is Judd, who is hanging from the tree by a noose. Yep. And we pan down Judd's body to his badge on the ground, and a splash of blood hits the badge in the exact way that a splash of blood hit the comedian's pin in the opening of Watchmen.
Yep.
And that's the episode. What'd you think of this one?
It's great. It's great. It's a fantastic opening. Really grabs you very quickly. Really keeps you hooked. Ends on a good note. You know, it's well done. It's good stuff. A lot of the music reminded me of John Carpenter. Like, it's got that, like, especially when she's driving to
the police station
at the end. No, when she's driving at the end, and it sounds a lot like the Halloween music, like John Carpenter's Halloween score, and I like that. Like there's a brooding sense of, you know, masked danger, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, this is a soundtrack by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and they put them out in vinyl as the episodes were airing, and the vinyl they were all like in universe, the packaging. Yeah, I wasn't able to get them all. I have a couple of them. I think there's 3 or 4 of them, and I have 2 of them. But sometimes I find copies that are cheaper, but because it's a limited edition, they're never that cheap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love this, and it was really great to rewatch it because it's one of these shows I'm always like, I should rewatch this. This is really good, but I never kind of do. And rewatching it was the 6 years was enough, like, to make it feel really fresh. Like, yes. I remembered stuff, but I didn't remember it so clearly that I was like, okay, now this is going to happen. Like, and so there was still a sense of like discovery and surprise within the course of the episode. And also, obviously, rewatching it, having seen the whole thing, it's really great because this is so tightly written that you can really see the setups for what's going to come later. And I'm very impressed by how... And I should have watched it a second time longer ago because I knew that it almost certainly that the opening episodes were going to play with added depth, you know? So, but it's great. It's so fucking current, man. It's crazy how current. It's like, it was a little bit upsettingly current, frankly.
Yeah, a little too much.
Yeah, but it
makes me wonder what he's going to do with the lanterns and what we're going to see, what 6 years from now is going to look like.
You know, so Damon Lindelof hates me. He went on the radio one time and told me that he thinks he should charge me for his therapy bills.
There you go.
Yeah. So he actually hates me. He had people reach out to me when he was on Lost to ask me to stop writing mean things about him.
Oh, good. So he's going to be our guest next week.
Yeah, Damon. So with that in mind, the fact that he hates me and that he and I do not have a good relationship, I think this is a masterwork. I think he did brilliant work here. I mean, like, unbelievable. There's no denying. And when he was announced for Lanterns, I guess this show did not make enough of an impact because some people are like Damon Lindelof. But having watched Watchmen, I'm like, yeah, fuck, let me see whatever he's doing. Like, yeah, 100%.
I'm very interested to see what he's doing. I'm still worried that Lanterns is going to be too out of costume, if you will. Like, I want to see Green Lanterns doing Green Lantern stuff, and hopefully we're going to get a good amount of that. And it sounds like we're going to, but we'll see. But
we will see.
There's no doubt that the story is going to be good. Like, I feel confident that the show is going to be good.
Right.
It's just, will it be what I'm hoping for? You know, and it not being, if it's not what I'm hoping for, if it's still good, it's still good. That's,
yeah.
You know.
One of the things I love about this episode and this series in general is that Alan Moore did amazing world building in Watchmen, like really amazing. Like, I think people who love Watchmen can like talk about the world as much as they talk about anything else. And he makes that world really deep. And there's a lot of stuff you learn about in that world that doesn't necessarily impact the plot, but has thematic resonance and stuff like that.
Like the cigarettes.
Yeah. And so what I was really taken by in this show, in this episode, was how great this show is at continuing the world building. It doesn't feel like the show is rehashing anything. It is picking up from Watchmen, but it's not doing it like in a way like where it's like, oh, here's some of the same old shit you like last time. And it's also not doing it in a way that the world building that he's doing here feels expansive. Even though it's referencing a bunch of shit from the book, it feels really expansive. It feels additive as opposed to like repetitious. And I think that the way that the show approaches the source material is really respectful, like unbelievably respectful. And I don't think that there is a strong argument to be made that this is like, sometimes when people do these kinds of things, like, oh, you don't even understand the work. But like, it's quite clear that Lindelof gets it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. I absolutely fucking adore. I can't wait to watch the rest of this. Like, I'm really excited. It's not always on these programs that we do that we are excited to watch a show from week to week. Very often we are kind of dreading the process of watching a show from week to week.
True.
But it's nice to be like, oh yeah, this is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece that remains a masterpiece. It holds up. And I'm going to have 8 great more weeks enjoying it.
Yeah. Do you think Alan Moore ever watched it?
I do wonder, people at home that don't know this, if you notice, it says based on Watchmen by Dave Gibbons. That's because Alan Moore's taken his name off of everything, including Watchmen, and he doesn't get money or anything for this. It's funny. I think that Alan Moore talks a big game in public. I think that he says that stuff about fascism partially because he knows it's going to upset guys like you.
Yeah.
I think he's a troll, I think, on some level. He'll claim that I don't watch these things, I don't look at these things. He might just be spiteful enough that he doesn't. That's the other thing. He actually kind of is spiteful in a way that
100% spiteful. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's like nobody could ever do anything with his work that's as good as what he did in his mind. It's just impossible, and it's all going to be upsetting. So maybe he hasn't, but I would love him to watch this. Let's get Alan Moore on the show to talk in a future episode.
He has seen some things based on his work, like. They've talked about, I think it was Jim Lee talked about on Justice League Unlimited or the first Justice League animated series, whichever one it was. They did the For the Man Who Has Everything as an episode, and they showed it to Alan Moore. And he's like, "Oh, this is really good. You really did a good job with this." And so he's not afraid. He won't not watch things, I guess. But I wonder like how. It play, like, would something like Watchmen be much more for him? Like, no.
So I'm going to make an assumption about Alan Moore. I don't think I've ever heard him say this, but I'm going to make an assumption, which is that he doesn't take cartoons seriously.
Yeah, I could.
And so if they're adapting it into a cartoon, it's like, oh, how cute! Like, this is adorable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
When they're adapting it into a movie with a lot of money or a TV show with a lot of money, especially ones that get good reviews potentially, I think that maybe he doesn't want to see that. He doesn't want to watch something that people are saying is as good as what he did.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously Watchmen, the Snyder movie, got mixed reviews, but this got nothing but glowing reviews. So,
But Alan Moore is in my opinion, a jerk. So.
He's a crank. I love that about him.
I find him endlessly annoying.
I mean, I just don't listen to him.
I don't like, he sits there and is like, people shouldn't play with the things I created. By the way, here's a 3-volume pornographic graphic novel about Peter Pan, and
about Peter Pan, Wizard of Oz, and
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, it's very good. I don't have a copy on my shelves. Do you have a copy of that?
No longer. I don't have one anymore.
You got rid of it?
Yeah.
Because you don't like Alan Moore? Because you felt that there was this pornography on your shelf?
Because I was poor and living in my friend's guest bedroom, and I sold it. That's why. He does things like that, and then the Great Almond Church that controls the rights to Peter Pan were like, please don't do this. We'd rather not. And he's like, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want with these characters. Nobody do anything with mine, though. And it's like, fuck you then.
Yeah, I know. I like that. I like that kind of attitude.
I don't like that attitude at all.
He's not stopping it. He can't stop anybody from doing the shit. Like, that's the thing. The same way that the church can't stop him from doing what he wants, they can't stop him from doing...
Not church.
Hospital, whatever it is. Can't stop him from doing what he wants because of the nature of copyright. He can't stop anybody else from doing what they want because of the nature of copyright. So I think that's great. I think that's actually beautifully ironic. I love the tension in that concept. It just makes me very happy. I don't have to deal with it. And you know what's funny is that you had this thing about Alan Moore, he won't shut up, whatever. That's the exact same attitude that you took some of our Discord members to for task for about James Gunn. It's like, just don't read what he says. Just avoid it.
Yeah. And most of the Alan Moore stuff I avoid, but every now and then something pops in. Like, I'm not actively looking for him, and every now and then something will pop up. I'm like, I see it. I'm like, this motherfucker again, Like the last time I read anything about Alan Moore was an interview with Grant Morrison, where Grant Morrison just went off on Alan Moore. So like, I didn't know that was going to be in there, but all of a sudden he's like, fuck Alan Moore.
I mean, I love that he's a crank, and I love that his new career is making books that I guarantee nobody's ever read.
Sure. Yeah.
And I can tell you why, because I buy them all and I don't read them.
I will say this for Alan Moore. I did read an article maybe a month and a half ago. I'm not sure how long ago, but there was a housing in London that was going to be torn down, and it was like assisted living housing kind of thing, and he paid to keep it up and running.
Good for him.
And I was like, okay, like that's a great thing. That is clearly that's a good heroic thing, a good man thing to do. But he's a cranky bastard, and he doesn't listen to his own wants about his characters, and that kind of drives me crazy.
I love that. I love a good hypocrite.
Yeah, but him assuring that these people were able to keep their homes, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Good for him.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back again next week with episode 2 of Watchmen, Comanche Feats of Horsemanship. And that is, of course, the name of a famous painting that you can go look up on the internet. It's at the Smithsonian right now. And we will see you guys again then. Until then, I don't have an outro either. It didn't occur to me to do a new outro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'll just say this. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you be well, and may we see you again next week. How's that? That work? I mean, not like forever, but just for now, right?
Sure. You could end it with and if you didn't like this, somewhere in the multiverse is one you did like. So there you go.
You always have the negative. It's always so negative. All right, we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks so much.